Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Motherfucker.
Can you guys hear me?
God's eyes, but I seen the devil's. He walks with man on earth at different levels. He knows the king we serve, so he hates and meddles and prays that we all burn and turn to rebels. He tried to get my soul, but I'll never settle. I walk this lonely road from the burbs to ghettos. I'll take the gift bestowed and return a vessel. I am the one they chose. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rebellious in all ways, been sinners since birth. He knew that it would happen when he put us on this earth. We demonize religion, brought corruption to the church. We know the price of everything, but we don't know the worth. We spend all of our time idolizing false prophets. Comparison's the enemy, stop watching others' pockets. The social system's broken, we divide on every topic. They fabricate the truth and we all monetize the gossip. We know the problems and we see them but don't want to change. We're desensitized to every issue cause they let us profit off of people's pain. In this dystopian age, we are the game that he plays, and all the evil, deceitful people should shake our faith. I never seen God's eyes, but I seen the devil's. He walks with man on earth at different levels. He knows the king we serve, so he hates and meddles and prays that we all burn and turn to rebels. He tried to get my soul, but I'll never settle. I walk this lonely road from the burbs to ghettos. I'll take the gift bestowed and return a vessel. I am the one they chose. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our God is an awesome artist. In perilous times we seek his grace as the world and the times we face turn fake in the face of the devil's mirages. In the midst of the pain just stained in the media's push of all this garbage, I pray that you keep your faith as the whole world breaks and the real get disregarded. It's about time that we take it back. The weight's too great for the camel's back. Strong men made life an easy task, and now the weak men feminize every act. In the church, in the workplace, every class, on the television screen, in the state of rap. All virtues gone and it's fade to black. We in hell on earth and it's gon' collapse. Integrity's lost, hedonism we incentivize. God's on the way, the revolution will be televised. Gone too far, don't know if we can rectify. At those gates we will testify. So I'm saying it now for they counteract clockwise. We are living in times where the wicked is all rise. The intelligent fall while the stupid is all thrive. And the real get pushed aside. I never seen God's eyes, but I seen the devil's. He walks with men on earth at different levels. He knows the king we serve, so he hates and meddles and prays that we all burn and turn to rebels. He tried to get my soul, but I'll never settle. I'll walk this lonely road from the birth to ghettos. I'll take the gift bestowed and return a vessel. I am the one they chose. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is up, guys? Welcome. Just getting everything situated here. We got 21 people here so far. Guys, we're on part 3 of Adam and Eve, and I have my other brother from another mother here with me tonight, CFM. Welcome, CFM.
Hey, man, right down to the wire. This thing wasn't working. The
I
camera.
know.
Yeah, I had problems with it last Friday
Yes,
too.
you did. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably
so
time
you're
to get another
gonna
one.
have to get like the Geek Squad out there to fix your stuff or something.
I think my stuff's just too old. I think I just need to get another camera on it. The thing, I don't know. It came with the computer. So.
Yeah, the one that came with my computer is pretty good. I've never had to actually like get an extra mic or camera or anything. I've lucked out pretty good with this.
But I'll probably black screen it mostly because we're reading and stuff.
Oh yeah, you know we're gonna talk the whole time.
Oh, I know. No.
We thought we'd done this in 2 parts, but you know we're on the third.
No. You thought. I knew we'd never get through it. It'll take a lifetime for you and me to get through this book. Are you kidding me?
Naturally, organic conversations grow like that, and they flow and they grow, and then you wind up talking. Oh my God, it's been 2 hours. We've went 40 minutes of this book.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything else. People talk about movies and sports and all that. We just find this stuff fascinating. And yeah.
Well, because, you know, for so long we've been told, at least, you know, where I come from, like growing up Catholic and everything, there's things that you don't talk about, you don't discuss. It's just known. You know, there's no mowing any ideas over. There's a set, you know, strategic path for being Catholic. You know, you don't ask too many questions and stuff. So it wasn't like a discussion, but, you know, learning all this stuff and coming back around, circling like 360 from going like into flat earth and all this other stuff and the destruction and coming back around, it all leads back to the Bible. And bouncing around these ideas and talking through it and everything in such a free and open way where we're really comfortable and don't get upset or pissed off about, you know, my view is different than yours and all this stuff. You know, that's how we grow and learn. And that's how the truth, I think, flows to us.
I noticed, hi, Rose. I noticed Rose is in the chat. And the first time I talked about this book, it was Rose and I and did it. And so I'm thrilled to be revisiting this in such a lengthy way. So
I listened to it that one night. I told you I couldn't not listen to it. It was like till 4 a.m. I had my earbuds in. I'm like going to the next chapter and stuff. I was really.
That's the thing that blows me away. The people that like shoo or whatever, they dismiss the Bible and they don't want you reading stuff. The stories are fascinating, good as any novel. And you get this hunger for it and you start reading it. And like you go through Kings and Chronicles and it basically tells you the history of all the different and provable kings that live, like they match up to history. And so it's right there in there. And then when you read this book and you go, wow, this kind of fills in a lot of things that we were questioning. And the same thing with Jasher. It's like, I just can't get enough and I run out of time to read it because it's doing other stuff, you know. It's just, you get a hunger for it, right?
Yeah. Yep. There's this short that I'm going to share with you that I thought was amazing. I don't know if you got to see it. I did send it to your phone, but we're going to show it here tonight. It's really cool.
Hi, Nate X. Hi. I like to spell it.
Yeah, say hi to the chat.
It looks like the conspiracy music guy. Is that funny? Yeah, the guy that sings those songs.
Yeah, yeah. Is he in the chat?
No, I'm saying the guy who got on the screen looks kind of like it. At least with the avatar and my bad eyes. Melanie. She's not even here, probably. The only reason she'll show up if I tell her.
All right, let me get this short up real quick. This is really good. This guy made so much sense. It was just amazing. I was just like, my jaw dropped. All right, so hold on. Let me get this set up here. Okay, there it is. All right, here we go, guys. I'm going to check this out real quick because this guy, I can't repeat it how he says it, or I would, but it makes sense. And it's just like, yeah, it's a huge question. It's as big as the question is, why is everybody saying we're in 2024? 2024 years past the birth of Christ. No matter if you're in a Muslim country, Islam, Hindu, China, it doesn't matter. Israel, they're all using the same calendar with Jesus's birth as the beginning of the AD, or what they call now CE, current era, which, by the way, the Mayan thing that I read the other day, I said BC instead of CE, which is current era. And I just wanted to correct myself on that one.
And I want to say something too. I know the video. I did send this to you. It's awesome. It's only like 15 seconds. This guy spells it perfect.
Yes. And I couldn't have done it.
I was going to play it too. Go for it. I love it. Yeah, this will be great.
All right, let me get this set up here.
No, I thought we were set up.
I thought I was too, but
let's see. Rethink. Hey, how's it going? Juan Truth is here.
Where is it? Here it is.
Amon Machman is here. Crazy John is here. And Jamie Crane is here. And Annette. One love, says Annette. And
One love is in the chat?
No, Annette is in the chat.
Oh, Annette, what's up, girl?
And Rethink says, Juaninator. And how we doing?
The Juaninator?
Stacy Daisy does a kissy face. And are you ready? Okay,
I'm ready.
Just trying to do filler. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Eastern religions and all the cults and all the world religions, they always gave some credit to Jesus Christ. The Muslims say that he was a prophet. The Christians say that he was an incarnation of the Godhead in his age. Yogananda and all these different Eastern teachers said that he had Christ consciousness. They always use words like Christ consciousness, Christ this, Jesus that. The Buddhists would even say he was a Buddha. He was another incarnation of God like Buddha was. And in all my searchings, I saw that all these people were pointing to Jesus. They're going, well, yeah, Jesus is one of the ways, but we're one of the ways. And they wouldn't all agree on anything except that Jesus was one of the ways. And then I looked into the Bible. I did this all for intellectual reason, laid it out on the table and figured it out that if they all gave him credit and he only gave himself credit, and they all agreed on one thing, that he was one of the ways, and he only agreed that he was the only way. So I figured I had no choice but to go with him. And then I started praying to Jesus.
Amen. Hallelujah.
In all these religions.
I love it.
Great. That was great.
I'm going to share this with you guys. You guys can.
And I thought my mic was off. I hope I didn't mess that up with noises.
No. I mean, I heard your last part, what you just said, where we just said amen. But before that, if you said anything, I didn't hear it. Let me cross screen share.
That's fine.
Oh, that was just amazing. How deductive reasoning, critical thinking here. I mean, if you're really trying to make a decision and, you want to know where you want to put your belief at, that was a good way to do it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Excellent. You got Nate on there still on the screen there.
Yep, I know. I got to get that off. I hate it when I do that stuff. We got 33 people here. What a surprise.
Of course. Right? I wouldn't think of any other way.
What's up, Freya? Freya's in the house. Jamie is here. Welcome, Jamie. We got Messa Melt. Some girl named Jennifer Santelli. I don't know who the hell that could be.
I see her a lot lately in your shows.
Crazy John's here. Rethink is in the house. You guys better play nice. I'm just saying. Be careful. Watch what you say.
Everybody plays nice. We're fine.
Yeah.
Play nice. That was a Toy Story, says it. Yeah. Tony. Hey, she says.
120.
The Adam and Eve channel. Yeah. Okay, Juan.
Juan's got a moai out on his front lawn.
Yeah, they're chasing him.
So they get there and then they go like this and they bury in.
Is that how they got on the ground? Okay, yeah. We'll see. Hey, as Shapu says, make it make sense. At least you're giving another theory. All these other people, they have no theories. So, hey, now we have two theories. You guys don't want to believe in melted. Maybe they walk there and shimmy their way into the ground like an earthworm.
That's right.
I like
It
it.
looks to me like they were trying to escape Easter Island because they all look like they're on their way to the ocean. They're
Right?
coming down, and then like the melt hit and they got stuck, and they're like,
Yep.
but now they're trying to escape still, and some make it through. We saw
And
the
what if they were
underwater
like
Moana.
really those creatures, and just like they show you in Greek mythology with Medusa, like
Yeah.
whatever happened to them froze them into those tomb-like things, But it's
Right.
also weird that as the Mandela effect happened, we realized they're all holding their junk, which is
Oh,
a
yeah.
weird thing. Their ears got really long, and they started holding their junk, and then of course they got entire bodies and stuff going on.
DJ's
So
in the
there's
house.
that.
Welcome, DJ.
Hey, GJ, and she's tardy, admitted it. And Brett Morgan is
Well,
here.
15 minutes
Leave
isn't
it.
tardy. Half an hour's tardy.
Yeah. And technically, until Melanie gets here, I guess nobody's tardy. So
Yeah, right. Where is she? She's been
can
tardy
you
a
guys
lot.
hear me? See, you can say it and play it on your show.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I can see that one too.
You do that one too.
Tell the
Sometimes
drops.
I forget whose show I'm on. Sometimes you play the drops.
Can you guys hear me?
I love it. And all
All
of you.
right. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Let me go back to these comments over here. Red Storm's in the house. What's up? Olive Juice. What's up? What's up?
And that's a Mandela effect, Olive Juice. If maybe you know it or not, but I talked about this a long time ago when it hit me, because I read the Bible all the time, and that part where Noah lets go of the dove, and it used to come back with the olive branch. That's where you get the whole thing about peace, and everyone uses the olive branch. It's now changed to a leaf. It only brings back a single leaf. So everyone that throughout history that thought it was a branch, they're all wrong, apparently, just misremembered. So there's that.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I mean, why would that even change? It doesn't even make sense, but it's lesser. See, it was a whole branch. Now it's just a leaf. It always seems the changes seem to be a lesser. Or
there's also a weirdness with, first it was only a dove in my memory. Now he releases a raven first. Like all of a sudden ravens are showing up all over the Bible. And so he releases a raven or a crow. I think it's a raven. And it never comes back, and they never talk about it ever again. Whereas the dove they talk about when it doesn't find land and comes back, and then finally comes back with the leaf. But never heard from the raven again. And to me, that was new addition. But wait, it doesn't matter. It's all, just shows us what times we're in. That's what I'm going to be talking about, hopefully, with Dave on Friday. The times that we're in.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a sign. I mean, what else could the Mandela effect be? I mean, you could say, well, it's CERN. They're tinkering with time, and they did something, and that's what it is. Well, I don't think so.
No.
Doesn't feel like that's right with me. It doesn't vibe with me, even if I have to sit here and like try to make a choice and feel how I feel about it, because I don't have proof on either side. But I don't think it's CERN. I think that CERN's doing some stuff, but it doesn't have to do with
they're just doing dark magic spells and stuff like the rest of them.
What they want you to do is think it's CERN, so you miss the sign. You blame it on CERN, and you don't realize that this is a sign of where we're at. So that's why they give you that alternative narrative to go with. And the people who don't believe will go that route, because what else could it be? It couldn't be a sign from the Creator. There is none, No. That's just...
and they make you concentrate on all of those things when nobody's actually watching the skies and seeing the things that God said to look for. And it wasn't necessarily, all the mainstream things that's been being pushed. Yeah, there was an eclipse, and I think it's pretty important that it covered these different cities and all that. But no, I wasn't waiting for a rapture or an alien invasion. Everyone's waiting for those things, but you're missing out on the bigger picture. We're waiting for, either he's done it once or he's doing it the final time, but Jesus is coming back to just square this all out. And so we have to look past all this stuff and realize that the times that we're in, and just get ready. And that's like spiritually more than like stowing up food and stuff. That's always good.
Yeah, well, see, that's what it is. I told you, like for the last 15 years, there's always this threat of, the grid could go down, threat of who knows what, anything, right? You got to be prepared. Yeah, rotating out canned goods and everything. But really, what we're finding, where we're at in the timeline, it's more imperative. It's most imperative to be prepared spiritually, and have that sorted out. More so than the food and everything. However, that is definitely a good thing to have prepared, because you do never know what these people are going to throw at us. Okay. And people have children, and, they have to think things out that way and store up stuff, but be also prepared spiritually, because that's really where it's going to count, because this is a spiritual battle. And, men's hearts will fail them for what they see come upon the earth. I truly believe that that's the way it's going to be. we're going to see some crazy stuff come down. So anyway, I can't even talk. Adam and Eve saw some crazy stuff because it was their first time seeing it. So that's really interesting to hear. I love hearing their experience, how emotional it was, and just completely polar opposite compared to what they were used to, experiencing this physical plane and this physicality of this, physical fleshy suit that we wear that God gave us, It was their first time being in it, and it's just so interesting.
Yeah, it's fun watching or reading those stories, and they're like freaking out about the ground they're stepping on. Yeah. And then at first, Adam doesn't want to drink the water because he thinks that he's going to piss God off even more. Because the last time they did any ingestion was the apple, and look where it landed him. And he's like, we can't drink the water, And so,
and he never knew darkness. Now, do you see how much he appreciated the light that he came from once he experienced that darkness and how horrible it was? So it made him, he was born in that light. So it was like you could never know darkness, if you never experience it. So to appreciate the light that he came from, and boy, did he could hear it in him every time, like when the sun's coming at him and he never saw it before, and he starts freaking out like it's gonna.
But and that's another good example of the tree of good, knowledge of good and evil, because God didn't need us to know that, and they were so happy, and it would have been blissful and perfect, and that's how he wanted it to be.
Right.
But once we got that knowledge, then it was corrupt. And it's kind of the same idea.
I think what happened was, I think it was they were too young for it at the time. You know what I mean? And it wasn't their time to have that.
They never knew, like you said, he never knew darkness.
Yeah.
So he got scared when it came about, because prior to that, he only had light because it came out of each other.
Yeah.
And so had they not gotten that knowledge, he would have never been scared of the dark or seen darkness.
Right.
So it really all goes back to that same idea. Yeah.
Yeah. If they would have waited, like maybe if God later down the road thought that they were ready and they were never tempted, and maybe it could have been like, well, this tree will give you the knowledge of whatever. If you want to experience what darkness is, because what is this darkness you speak of? I have no clue what it is. Then you can willingly choose to go there and not be so scared and, you know what I mean? Just thrown out there kind of, you know what I mean? I
hear what you're saying, but I think it's even a step farther. I think God just said, you don't need to bother with it. I'll deal with it.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's things I do, like, for instance, I clean the cat box. We both could, but I do it. So she doesn't have to. It's not that Jeannie wouldn't, but
there's certain things that you need to know when you're a kid, and when you get a little older, you get more knowledge. You get the talk of the birds and the bees or whatever when it comes that time, but you wouldn't give it to like a 5-year-old. You know what I mean?
I'm talking about cat poop. You're talking about sex. What are you doing?
I'm just saying, if
you go back to the cat poop analogy. First of all, Sarah's poop smell like roses.
Walking with God every day, talking to him, and then one day he decides to veer off and go get some fruit from the forbidden tree. All right.
Fantastic.
You know what we should do? We should just
great.
get into this book. You got it set up on your end.
Oh, yes, I do.
We got 43 people here.
Oh,
we're
good.
23 minutes in. If I don't nip this in the bud now, we'll keep going.
All right. I need to get some coffee, and I have no one to grab it. Let me go grab that, and I'll bring up.
Okay, no problem. I'll talk to you.
The thing here. Let's see. Here. And okay, so guys, I'm ready. The screen share. I'll be right back. So
okay, no problem. I'll tell everybody about my hubby. He's doing better. We had to take him to the urgent care place over here. It's like it's not an emergency room. It's just like a little doctor's office, but it says urgent care. Anyway, they gave him a steroid anti-inflammatory shot and a shot of cortisone, and he is like 100% better, out of bed, moving around, but very, very gingerly, still taking it easy. So everybody's prayers really did help. Thank you so much, everybody. All your concern. Everybody was very concerned. I know he got a few messages after the show. I think Trish messaged him, said she was praying for him. DJ, I love you, girl. My mouth's all dry. I smoked a little bit before I came on the show with you guys. My husband's like, you want to hit this? I got dry mouth. I love you, Jamie. Patrick's here. What's up, Patrick? Welcome. Yeah, thanks, Manoa. Yeah, he's doing much better. Oh, I never saw him in that kind of pain before. It was really scary. I mean, I've seen him in pain with a toothache, yeah, but it never that kind of pain in another part of his body. It had me really, scared for a minute. All right. Clickety click.
Clickety click. You got it there?
Here we go.
All right.
You guys ready for this? Pay attention.
Pay attention. There'll be a test later.
That's right.
Okay. I'm not quite sure. Let's see where we are, but we'll just wing it. We'll figure it out. But this is where we stopped about an hour in. Not bad.
Probably about right.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you that didn't maybe catch the first part, this is after they get kicked out and everything's new to them and they're freaking out. And I think they've tried to kill themselves or successfully have done it like 4 times and keep getting brought back to life. So, and all of it is trying to get home. And God promised him that he'll bring us home after 5.5 days, which equals 5,500 years. And so the timeline potentially lines up to when Jesus came and then did his second coming, possibly. So anyways, but this is where in the story, somewhere in there. Is that about right? Did I miss anything,
Yep.
Jen?
And if anybody missed the first 2 episodes, they are on my channel. If you guys just scroll back 2-3 weeks, you'll see them.
Okay, here we go. Nope, no sound.
Uh-oh.
All right, hang on a second. Can you hear that?
I think I heard something. No, I don't hear nothing.
You don't
No.
All right. Share screen. Share with audio.
Mac TV says he's going to definitely go back and check those out. Cool.
Yeah. They're good shows.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We always have fun.
Let's see. Try this again here.
Accepted their offering.
There we go.
Okay. So we'll go to 27.
We're in business now.
What's that?
We're in business now.
Exactly. Let's get to chapter 27, I guess. Somewhere around here. Okay.
Chapter 26.
Oh, 26? That's
Then
fine.
Adam took Eve,
We'll go through
and
this.
they began to return to the cave of treasures where they dwelt. But when they neared it and saw it from afar, heavy sorrow fell upon Adam and Eve when they looked at it. Then Adam said to Eve, "When we were on the mountain, we were comforted by the word of God that conversed with us, and the light that came from the east shone over us. But now the word of God is hidden from us, and the light that shone over us is so changed as to disappear. And let darkness and sorrow come upon us. And we are forced to enter this cave, which is like a prison, wherein darkness covers us, so that we're parted from each other, and thou canst not see me, neither can I see thee." When Adam had said these words, they wept and spread their hands before God, for they were full of sorrow. And they entreated God to bring the sun to them, to shine on them, so that darkness return not upon them. And they
I'm going to make it so you can see us even if on the side. How do you do that?
Oh, hold on. I can do it. I think it's like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that there?
Yeah, I'm right
We
there.
good?
I'm here.
So then I can do this and you can still see us?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that way it just people don't
I
think that.
can't see you. There's a black screen there. Do you have something in front of your camera?
Oh, let me look at this thing again. I'll just avatar instead of messing with that. I don't want to mess with it. Well,
Okay.
it's still working. You can hear me because of the. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
we got you. Wait, your screen share went away.
I know. I clicked the wrong clicky. Yeah. I know what I'm doing, but I don't. I wing it every time. Is it working? It says it is. There we go.
All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh. Sorry about it. All right, here we go.
come not again under this covering of rock. And they
Poor
wished
Adam, he hates the cave.
rather than see the
Yeah.
darkness. Then God looked upon Adam and Eve and upon their great sorrow, and upon all they'd done with a fervent heart, on account of all the trouble they were in, instead of their former well-being, and on account of all the misery that came upon them in a strange land. Therefore God was not wroth with them, nor impatient with them, but he was long-suffering and forbearing towards them, as towards the children he had created.
And think about that. They're full-grown adults in our eyes, but they're babies. It's
Exactly.
like they came out like a baby, but they're full-grown adults. They don't
Yeah.
understand anything.
Yeah, they're so new. It's like, the wrapper's still on.
Yeah. So you wouldn't yell at an infant because they don't understand anything. So he's being patient. It's wonderful. That's the people that hate on Bible and God and all that. They say he's wrathful and angry. Yeah, well, he has that, but guess what? He's patient and loving,
Merciful.
merciful more than anything. Anything. Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Then came the word of God to Adam, and said unto him, Adam, as for the sun, if I were to take it and bring it to thee, days, hours, years, and months would all come to naught, and the covenant I have made with thee would never be fulfilled. But thou shouldst then be turned and left in a long plague, and no salvation would be left to thee forever.
Yeah, because he promised him he'd be back in a certain length of time.
Yep.
So if he stops time now, they'll never come back.
Right. And trying to even explain that, like, how does that even work? He doesn't really go into detail, of course, but it's, you automatically think, well, he's God, he can do whatever he wants, but we don't understand how his creations work, or what parameters he has to work within. He's God, he's, of course, but at the same time, you think,
I think the one parameter that God maintains, he has to, is he cannot lie.
His word, yes.
Right, because if his word turns to being not true, everything falls apart like a Jenga thing if you pulled out the wrong block.
Right.
And so his word has to be true.
Right.
And so if he tells Adam, okay, the only way you can get out of this mess that you created after I told you not to do it is wait. And after this amount of time, I'll bring you back. If because Adam is so sad and wah, 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 and he's like the kid at the grocery store that wants candy, if he does that, it all falls apart. So he has to do it in the time he already told him. So I think. Anyways, what do we know? We know nothing. There we go.
May rather bear long and calm thy soul while thou abidest night and day until the fulfillment of the days, and the time of my covenant is come. Then shall I come and save thee, O Adam, for I do not wish that thou be afflicted. And when I look at all the good things in which thou didst live, and why thou camest out of them, then would I willingly show thee mercy. But I cannot alter the covenant that has gone out of my mouth, else would I have brought thee back into the garden. When, however, the covenant
That's just what you said.
Then shall I show thee and thy seed mercy, and bring thee into a land of gladness, where there is neither sorrow nor suffering, but abiding joy and gladness and light that never fails, and praises that never cease, and a beautiful garden that shall never pass away. And God said again unto Adam, Be long-suffering, and enter the cave. For the darkness of which thou wast afraid shall only be 12 hours long, and when ended, light shall arise. Then when Adam heard these words from God, he and Eve worshipped before him, and their hearts were comforted. They returned into the cave after their custom, while tears flowed from their eyes, sorrow and wailing came from their hearts, and they wished their soul would leave their body. And Adam and Eve stood praying until the darkness of night came upon them.
And that's not asking for suicide again. That's like they remember how they used to be, and they're praying to get back to it. Even though God just got done telling him, you have to wait.
Yeah.
Look
They're
at
not
it.
real. They're not happy with these physical bodies at all.
Yeah, well, some of us can say the same.
Yeah.
No, they did. Okay, here we go.
And Adam was hid from Eve, and she from him.
That's sad.
And they remained standing in prayer.
Because they were in the
Chapter
darkness.
27.
Yeah, they can't see each other in the cave. Well, you remember what it was like in the caves that we went in. You can't see your hand.
Yeah, I saw a lot of brick though.
When the light was on, we could see it. Otherwise, nothing.
Yeah, we definitely. No, we did turn our lights off at one point, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean,
couldn't see
besides,
anything.
all we had was those headlamps and our cell phones.
You turn
We
those
weren't
things
even
off
extra.
to see your own hand in front of your face. I've never experienced such darkness.
Yeah.
So I can see how sad these were. Can you imagine just that's your existence until you go home? That'd freak me out too. But they didn't know the sun was coming back the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, God forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
And then it would be this fiery ball in the sky.
Well, it's not even that he forgot to mention it. I guess it's like everything else. We have free will. He wants the question. He wants someone to ask it, and then he'll tell
Yeah.
you.
Or
Yeah,
I think he's
he's
sitting
not
there
gonna-
like saying, "Oh, wait, I can't wait to see what he thinks when this thing starts coming up."
Yeah, look, God has a sense of humor. I mean, just
Of
watch
course he
my
does. Where do you think we get our sense of humor from?
Exactly.
Oh,
He's hilarious. He does stuff all the time that make you laugh. You know, it just is really funny.
and laughter is good for the soul, and he knows that.
Yeah. I mean, even if he's kind of like winking and goofing on you, like he does with me, I still find it humorous. Like when, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but I'll do something stupid and it'll come out right. And I'll just know he's up there making some comment, Anyways, here we go.
When Satan, the hater of all good, saw how they continued in prayer, and how God communed with them and comforted them, and how he had accepted their offering, Satan made an apparition. He began with transforming his hosts. In his hands was a flashing fire, and they were in a great light. He then placed his throne near the mouth of the cave, because he could not enter into it by reason of their prayers. And he shed light.
That's really interesting right there. Satan had to put his throne outside the cave because of their prayers, he said. And that's the thing. They tell us that is our arsenal. That's what we have. That's the weapon we have to use to pray. And, Jesus prayed all the freaking time. I mean, I know nobody can be like him, but, he's praying all the time. He's even, as soon as he gets here and he's being baptized, he's praying at the same time. That's the Spirit, Holy Spirit comes down as a dove. So, yeah. And he's praying before he gets crucified. He's just constant. So that's something that they try to make us feel it's unnecessary or it's doesn't do anything.
Right.
And that's just more of the psyop.
Exactly. If they tell you it doesn't do anything, it's meaningless, nobody's listening to your prayers, that's because it's the complete opposite and it works. Yeah. And somebody who was a high-level witch in a Satanist cult had gone into the astral, and that was their job, was to put demons on people. And this girl said she turned. She came to Jesus. She got out of this whole thing, survivor. But she said that she could see the people, the Christians that were praying, and they had a blue dome protection over them. And nothing she did or sent at them could affect them at all. And she said that was so powerful to her because she thought she was on the powerful side and she had all these demons that she could make attack people and wreak havoc in their lives, but nothing could touch those Christians that were praying.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it goes right back to this original writing. Isn't that something?
So it's a spiritual battle every day, guys. We don't see it in the physical sometimes, but it's happening, definitely.
Right. It's like your heart beating. It's like you don't think about it, but it goes on. It's the same thing. This spiritual battle is happening around us all the time. If you can't see it, you're feeling it in your life somehow. You don't even realize it. So they prayed and kept Satan out. We need to remember to do that, and I'm part of that too. I need to pray more. I go and I talk about it, but I gotta, physician heal thyself. I gotta do it too.
Yeah. Gotta stay prayed up.
Okay.
Prayed up.
Until the cave glistened over Adam and Eve while his hosts began to sing praises. And Satan did this in order that when Adam saw the light, he should think within himself that it was a heavenly light, and that Satan's hosts were angels, and that God had sent them to watch at the cave and to give him light in the darkness. So that when Adam came out of the cave and saw them, and Adam and Eve bowed to Satan, then he would overcome Adam thereby, and a second time humble him before God. When therefore Adam and Eve saw the light, fancying it was real, they strengthened their hearts. Yet as they were trembling, Adam said to Eve, "Look at that great light, and at those many songs of praise, and at that host standing outside that do not come into us, do not tell us what they say, or whence they come, or what is the meaning of this light, what those praises are, wherefore they have been sent hither, and why they do not come in."
Okay, so look, and once again, he has no idea what's going on. I don't think I would have either,
Mhm.
And so Satan's trying to deceive him, and he's doing a good job of it, because now he's like all these questions about this light and why it doesn't come in and who's doing it and what's happening. And so he's being deceived again. That's how easy we are deceived.
That's very true. Very true.
All right, here we go.
Oh boy.
If they were from God, they would come to us in the cave and would tell us their errand. Then Adam stood up and prayed unto God with a fervent heart and said, "O Lord, is there in the world another God than thou, who created angels and filled them with light and sent them to keep us, who would come with them? But lo, we see these hosts that stand at the mouth of the cave. They are in a great light. They sing loud praises. If they are of some other God than thou, tell me. And if they're sent by thee, inform me of the reason for which thou hast sent them."
I like this. What's going on here? He is questioning it, and he's doing what he's supposed to. He's taking it to God. He's like, "Help me out."
Yep. Because before he was falling for it. He just kept falling for it. Now he's like trying to check with God first.
Yeah. So if you had the drop, we could say, "Well, I'm learning, Richard. I'm learning."
Exactly. Well, you did it really well right there. You sound just
thank you.
like him.
I played it enough. Okay, here we go. And if anyone's listening down there, I could use some water. Oh, shoot. I just messed this all
Richard
up.
Cunningham.
Yeah, right? Okay, here we go. I think we were here.
Cave. They are in a great light. They sing loud praises. If they are of some other God than thou, tell me. And if they're sent by thee, inform me of the reason for which thou hast sent them. No sooner had Adam said this, than an angel from God appeared unto him in the cave, who said unto him, "O Adam, fear not. This is Satan and his hosts. He wishes to deceive you as he deceived you at first. For the first time he was hidden in the serpent, but this time he has come to you in the similitude of an angel of light, in order that when you worshipped him, he might enthrall you in the very presence of God." Then the angel went from Adam and seized Satan.
That's got to be cool, first of all, before he does what he's doing to him.
Mm-hmm.
God's got to be happy with that, because he took a moment this time and did what he was supposed to do and called God and said, "Hey, what do you think?" And he answered him immediately.
Yeah.
So he's got to be like, "Wow, that's cool. You're thinking this time."
Yeah.
So, but I'll back
It's,
it up.
it's amazing the open line of communication and how quickly he answers them. Because
Right.
I think he answers, if you constantly have that open line of communication, then he answers you quicker in more ways that you can recognize. I think nowadays a lot of people, only cry out when they really need something and don't really have that line of connection open very often, like they should. Just everyday conversation with God and Jesus. And
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've used this analogy. Like if you had a friend that called you up because they wanted to have you, borrow your truck and help them move. But then anytime they called you, it was only for that. After a while, it'd be like, is this really a friendship? And so it's like, if the only time you talk to God is when things are bad, and then as soon as it's doing good, you don't thank him or you forget, eventually you're not going to have that open communication like this, like he has right here, you know?
Yep, exactly.
The very presence of God. Then the angel went from Adam and seized Satan at the opening of the cave and stripped him of the fate he had assumed and brought him in his own hideous form to Adam and Eve, who were afraid of him when they saw him. And the angel said to Adam, "This hideous form has been his ever since God made him fall from heaven. He could not have come near you in it. Therefore did he transform himself into an angel of light."
Yep.
He needs all these disguises to deceive us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he throws them.
And his hosts from Adam and Eve, and said unto them, "Fear not. God, who created you, will strengthen you." And the angel went from them. But Adam and Eve remained standing in the cave. No consolation came to them. They were divided in their thoughts. And when it was morning, they prayed, and then went out to seek the garden. For their hearts were towards it, and they could get no consolation for having left it.
So this
Chapter
is all
28.
they constantly think about, is how awesome it was, and they're just so sad.
Man, I would be too, though. I mean, it's got to be shocking, and trying to let it sink in that you're never going back, and this one infraction got you here. I mean, it does seem kind of severe, but I mean, it does seem like, from my perspective, like getting punished wise, I understand where God's coming from, but I understand Adam and Eve's point of view too, because it just does seem so severe. And why can't they just go back? You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's that childlike mentality. They don't fully comprehend everything. And the only memories that they have is this beautiful place that they were. They have no other memories. Now they have the Satan chasing them around everywhere, trying to deceive them left and right. They don't even know what deception is. Wow.
Well, I kind of feel it's like, once it ties into this other thing that I always had a problem with. It's sad that God says our heart is set on evil. And so it seems like once we're exposed to this choice, eventually we all sin. And some of us probably worse than others, but everyone's done something. There's only one perfect person, and that was Jesus. So everyone's done something that sentence us to death because of the constraints of this realm that we're in. And so that's the whole thing. When God realized our hearts are set on evil, once we get the choice, he knows we're all going to sin. And I think that's why he said he's saddened that our hearts are set on that. So it's like the severity of the punishment is because he's trying to save us from complete damnation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks, and we can yell at Adam all we want, but the milk is spilled, so what are you going to do?
Right, exactly.
It's already done. What are you going to do? So, and I'm going to hit play, but I'm going to grab some water too, but it's right downstairs. I'll run.
But when the wily Satan saw them, that they were going to the garden, he gathered together his host and came in appearance upon a cloud, intent on deceiving them. And when Adam and Eve saw him thus in a vision, they thought they were angels of God come to comfort them about having left the garden, or to bring them back again into it. And Adam spread his hands unto God, beseeching him to make him understand what they were. Then Satan, the hater of all good, said unto Adam,
Satan, the hater of all good.
I am an angel of the great God, and behold the hosts that surround me. God has sent me and them to take thee and bring thee to the border of the garden northwards, to the shore of the clear sea, and bathe thee and Eve in it, and raise you to your former gladness, that ye return again to the garden. These words sank into the heart of Adam and Eve. Yet God withheld his word from Adam and did not make him understand at once, but wanted to see his strength, whether he
It's a test.
What's the test?
He said God did not tell him the details of something that he wanted to see his strength.
Yeah.
Remember, he said he didn't put them near that one river because they would wash themselves clean and forget their transgressions and not ever, repent or whatever. And this Satan's trying to bring them over there to that river now. But God still, right before this, the last time reassured him again about how things are and what we got to do. And, so, and then he's pretending to be an angel coming to, take him over to this river.
And that's why God's allowing this to continue to happen.
Yeah, he wants to see his strength this time.
And what did he tell he was going to give Adam? He didn't say he's going to save him from it. He said he's going to give him the strength to get through all this.
Right.
And that's the same thing he gives Jesus on the cross. Because if he went ahead at the very last moment, when Jesus asked God if he doesn't have to go through with it, he could have granted him that, and then we'd all be screwed. But instead, he gave him the strength to get through it. Same thing he's doing with Adam. Same thing he does with us.
Yeah.
would be overcome as Eve was when in the garden, or whether he would prevail. Then Satan called to Adam and Eve and said, "Behold, we go to the sea of water." And they began to go. And Adam and Eve followed them at some little distance. But when they came to the mountain to the north of the garden, a very high mountain, without any steps to the top of it, the devil drew near to Adam and Eve and made them...
What was that? Did you catch that? He's talking about a mountain, but this particular one had no steps. Why would a mountain have steps anyways?
I was good to CFM. Yeah, I did hear that, but it didn't click with me like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this one didn't have steps. Well, most of them do because they're all melted buildings.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, well, here we go.
Not make him understand at once, but wanted to see his strength, whether he would be overcome as Eve was when in the garden, or whether he would prevail. Then Satan called to Adam and Eve and said, "Behold, we go to the sea of water." And they began to go. And Adam and Eve followed them at some little distance. But when they came to the mountain to the north of the garden, a very high mountain, without any steps to the top of it, the devil drew near to Adam and Eve and made them go up to the top in reality and not in a vision, wishing, as he did, to throw them down and kill them, and to
sounds like he picked them up and took them up the mountain. Right? Jen?
wipe off their name from the earth, so that this earth should remain to him and his hosts alone. Chapter 29. But when the merciful God saw that Satan wished to kill Adam with his manifold devices, and saw that Adam was meek and without guile.
So here God's intervening. Why? Because Adam did the right thing, and Satan's like cheating. He picked him up and took him to the mountain to get him to toss him off anyways.
Right.
So he did
so he
this.
Kept his word. He stepped in.
Yeah, and God and Adam was doing good. He's like he's figuring this out. It's awesome.
God spake unto Satan in a loud voice and cursed him.
Uh-oh.
Then he and his hosts fled.
That's no bueno.
And Adam and Eve remained standing on the top of the mountain, whence they saw below them the wide world, high above which they were. But they saw none of the host which anon were by them. They wept, both Adam and Eve, before God, and begged for forgiveness of him. Then came the word from God to Adam, and said unto him, Know thou and understand concerning this Satan, that he seeks to deceive thee and thy seed after thee. And Adam wept before the Lord God, and begged and entreated him to give him something from the garden as a token to him, wherein to be comforted. And God looked upon Adam's thought, and sent the angel Michael as far as the sea that reaches unto India.
Now, this is what I talked about in my crow episode, where gold comes from.
Right.
It's from God's.
This is the second time he's mentioned India, because when he first picked up the serpent and threw him to the seashore a long distance away, he landed in India. And that's when we were talking about how the India, their culture has the Naga and the snakes, and their snake charmers and stuff. It's interesting that he landed in India. And then again here, they're going back to get gold or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, something's up, something's sus with India. Just saying.
Well, India had to be where India is, I would assume, excuse me, which again blows apart their whole Pangea thing. So there's that.
There's that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Chapter 29. But when the merciful God saw that Satan wished to kill Adam with his manifold devices, and saw that Adam was meek and without guile, God spake unto Satan in a loud voice, and cursed him. Then he and his hosts fled, and Adam and Eve remained standing on the top of the mountain, whence they saw below them the wide world, high above which they were. But they saw none of the host which anon were by them. They wept, both Adam and Eve, before God, and begged for forgiveness of him. Then came the word from God to Adam, and said unto him, Know thou and understand concerning this Satan, that he seeks to deceive thee and thy seed after thee. And Adam wept before the Lord God, and begged.
And you know what's interesting is, and I think it was in this book even, where it talks about why Satan hates us so much. Because Adam asked him, I believe, at one point, and he's like, he tells that story when, God created the angels,
Yes.
and they had all these crazy powers and stuff, and then he created man, but he told the angels that they need to bow down to man, that they're, they're beneath man in the hierarchy, or however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And Satan wouldn't have any of it. And so he hates us, like to the
really,
end of the earth. Like,
yeah. And these people who think they're in good graces with Satan and they're working with them and they're going to get all these earthly pleasures, like I said, when they leave this place, they're going to get it even worse. He hates us with a jealous vengeance, and he wants to see us, burn.
It's like in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, when Khan tells Kirk that he wants him, he's going to be buried alive. And he does this whole speech from some like play or something. It's freaking great. But it's like that.
There's a vitriol there. Like there's this like longing, this deep longing to just see us, fall and crumble and be like laugh at God, like, see, this is who you wanted me to bow down to.
Right. And my Ricardo Montalban was spot on. So here we go. Thank you. And scene. Yes. Okay.
And entreated him to give him something from the garden as a token to him, wherein to be comforted. And God looked upon Adam's thought, and sent the angel Michael as far as the sea that reaches unto India, to take from thence golden rods, and bring them to Adam. This did God in his wisdom, in order that these golden rods, being with Adam in the cave, should shine forth with light in the night around him, and put an end to his fear of the darkness.
I wonder how big these golden rods were, because I know India has this tech called Vajaras, and they're gold, and they're kind of like, I don't know, like maybe like this long, and you can hold it in the middle, and it does stuff like has like a light energy coming out of it or something. They're called Vajaras. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what a rod would be like. Is it like a long rod? I'm thinking, is it long? Is it just a straight rod, gold, or I don't know. I just thought of Vajaras though, and the tech that I've seen in supposed ancient India, the weaponry and things that they supposedly had, as far as like directed energy stuff, not just weaponized tech, but tech.
How about this? I'll throw one more thing at you. So the gold we have doesn't do this. It doesn't emanate light. However, from what I believe, the gold that we have was the tech that was used on the antique buildings through maybe the millennial reign ideas, however they figured this stuff out. But after they all got melted or whatever happened to them, and then we dig them out, they say that that was the temple, the Jewish temple. And when Jesus said there won't be a stone left that's not crushed to dust, it's because they were digging out all the gold that had been crushed down into it, and they were digging it out. And so if all the gold that we find is after some cataclysmic electrical heat event, whatever you want to say, then maybe it loses that power. And we don't have any of God's actual gold. We have the melted leftover, you know?
Yep.
I don't know. The theory. I know everyone hates them, but screw it.
Well, you know, whenever you find gold, like I'll show you here, it's definitely been under extreme heat event, because whenever you see it, it's melted onto something, or it just looks like it's been melted itself. Let me see here. There's some veins of gold here. You can see like this one here. It looks like it's melted onto this thing. They have to pry it off of it. It's not part of it. It didn't grow out of it. You know what I mean?
And it's usually in quartz.
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing there.
Yep. Like this.
And
Here,
it's interesting they call it veins too. What that says.
Melted. Always looks melted every time you see gold. But yeah, there it is. Even if you get alluvial gold or surface gold, or you don't have to dig too far down, you get a nugget, it's still melted looking, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, let me come off this. We've covered gold before.
Oh. And I don't know if Melanie's here yet, but we got Pants on showed up. He didn't find it. He found his belt. I'm going to try this camera against you. It doesn't blink. Yeah. Boom. Nothing.
Nope.
Dang it. All right. We'll stay like this. But yeah. So let's see. He's there, and Set and Egg showed up, and a few others snuck in. Joshin. How do you say that one, Jen?
Hold on.
I don't feel tardy.
That's for all the tardies out there.
I love drops.
Okay, so what word am I saying here? Jashan?
Oh, Joshin. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's fun to try to
envy and jealousy, yeah, and also like competition even plays into there, because he thought he was better than the humans. Why would I have to battle them? These are all the things that we have to deal with here. You know, people are always jealous. They're hateful. They'll be planning your demise when they're trying to be your friend, acting like they're your friend, being a wolf in sheep's clothing. You know, these types of things. There's so many people out there that just, you know, all this jealousy and envy and strife in the world all comes from Lucifer's traits of, you know, how he loves seeing us be this way with each other, us turning on each other and stuff like this. You know, he just sits back and revels in it.
Who's Rat Boy?
Rat Boy.
I don't know. You posted it up on the screen there. I don't know. The chat's going out.
I see it. Yeah.
Hands on. Okay,
hey,
where are we at?
Jenny.
I gotta bring.
Well, your screen share went away. I don't know what happened.
Well, because you were showing a presentation, and
that's right.
I'm also, I got this old computer, and I can only do one thing. That was it.
You're like a step above Melanie's tech.
Yes, it's a short step too. Let me tell you.
All right, here we go, guys.
You good? Okay.
Yep. Got the volume right.
Let's hope so. We'll see.
Michael went.
Did you hear Michael? Okay, good.
Down by God's order, took golden rods as God had commanded him, and brought them to God. Chapter 30. After these things, God commanded the angel Gabriel to go down to the garden and say to the cherub who kept it, "Behold, God has commanded me to come into the garden and to take thence sweet-smelling incense and give it to Adam."
And you see what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
The first angel, Michael, he goes and gets gold. The next one's going to the garden, and he's getting what? Incense. Sounds familiar, right?
Gold, incense, and myrrh. Yeah, this
We're
part
going
comes
to get some myrrh,
up.
I bet. Yeah.
And it's the same thing that the three kings bring to Jesus in the manger.
Because the way I used to remember it was there's nothing new under the sun. Now there's no new thing, but it's similar.
Yeah.
Then the angel Gabriel went down by God's order
Gabriel.
to the garden and told the cherub as God had commanded him. The cherub said, "Well." And Gabriel went in and took the incense. Then God commanded his angel Raphael to go down to the garden and speak to the cherub about some myrrh to give to Adam. And the angel Raphael went down and told the cherub as God had commanded him. And the cherub said, "Well." Then Raphael went in and took the myrrh.
So you got Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. Those are the ones the only ones they really name a lot in the Bible. Yeah.
The golden rods were from the Indian Sea, where there are precious stones. The incense was from the eastern border of the garden, and the myrrh from the western border, whence bitterness came upon Adam. And the angels brought these.
Do we even know what myrrh is?
Oh, let's look it up.
It sounds happy, and I think it's used for that idea, but it says that he was.
How do you spell myrrh?
I think it's M-I-R, but that I'm not certain.
Myrrh. Oh, that's Mir. It's the Mir space station. Yeah, I don't want that. Myrrh. That can't be right. It's not working out. How do you spell myrrh?
Oh, is there an H in it? Let's see. Let me try. What? Oh, try Y. Silent Y says Y. M-Y-R.
Okay. M-Y-R-H maybe. Maybe this is
I got myrrh.
Yeah, here it is. I got it.
Well, you did.
Yeah. It's an extract from a very small thorny tree species of the Camphoria genus. Belongs to some other type of family here. Myrrh resin has been used throughout history as medicine, perfume, and incense. So, yeah, I mean, definitely useful. It's good they brought it.
Yeah, so it's got a Y for those playing at home. And this is odd. It goes M-Y, then double R, and then H.
Yeah, that's what it is. Myrrh.
Roll that R if you're myrrh. Come on, Jose. Was it Juan Truth's in the audience? I can never roll my R's. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not good at that either.
All right, so let's get back to this. So
Let's
we figured out what.
Three things to God by the tree of life in the garden. Then God said to the angels, "Dip them in the spring of water. Then take them and sprinkle their water over Adam and Eve, that they may be a little comforted in their sorrow, and give them to Adam and Eve." And the angels did as God had commanded them. And
So he's not taking away the punishment. He's just easing the pain of it.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
they gave all those things to Adam and Eve on top of the mountain upon which Satan had placed them when he sought to make an end of them. And when Adam saw the golden rods, the incense and the myrrh, he was rejoiced and wept because he thought that the gold was a token of the kingdom whence he had come, and the incense was a token of the bright light which had been taken from him, and that the myrrh was a token of the sorrow in which he was. Chapter 31. After these things, God said unto Adam, "Thou didst ask of me something from the garden to be comforted therewith. And I have given thee these three tokens as a consolation to thee, that thou trust in me and in my covenant with thee. For I will come and save thee, and kings shall bring me, when in the flesh, gold, incense, and myrrh. Gold."
And he's talking about what? Anyone? Jesus. When he's born. He says kings will come and bring him gold, incense, and myrrh. Oh, baby. She's not there. but
Boom,
I said-
baby. Right
There
here.
you go.
Just went and got some water.
Oh, I did that too. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So he's telling you, hey, this is going to happen again. And this
Mhm.
time I'm going to bring kings and they're going to give all this.
And it just so happens that, none of these other supposed, whatever you want to call them, messiahs or whatever, Jesus is the one who was born in a manger, and three kings brought the incense and myrrh and the gold and stuff. So it's identical. So you could see why they would leave this out. Okay. You could see, the importance of this filling in so much of, the future prophecy, the word of God actually coming in the flesh.
Yeah.
Identical. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
As a token of my kingdom, incense as a token of my divinity, and myrrh as a token of my suffering and of my death. But, O Adam, put these by thee in the cave, the gold, that it may shed light over thee by night, the incense, that thou smell its sweet savour, and the myrrh, to comfort thee in thy sorrow. When Adam heard these words from God, he worshipped before him. He and Eve worshipped him and gave him thanks, because he had dealt mercifully with them. Then God commanded the three angels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, each to bring what he had brought, and give it to Adam. And they did so, one by one. And God commanded Suriel and Salathiel to bear up Adam and Eve, and bring them down from the top of the high mountain.
Yeah, because we forgot Satan left him up there, right?
Right. There's no steps.
That always bugged me on the Lord of the Rings, and people are like, God, why is he talking about movies so much? They do that thing where they fly the little people on the dragons or whatever they are, the eagles,
Right.
and they leave them on top of this ridiculously high mountain, and then they point like 1,000 miles away and go, "We have to get to the top of that mountain now."
Yeah.
Why couldn't they just keep flying? Like, why do they have to put them down and have to walk? Always bothered me. They could have flown them there. That
Right,
last
right.
movie was way shorter. I'm just saying.
Right.
Okay, let's back to the Bible.
and to take them to the cave of treasures. There they laid the gold on the south side of the cave, the incense on the eastern side, and the myrrh on the western side. For the mouth of the cave was on the north side. The angels then comforted Adam and Eve and departed. The gold was 70 rods, the incense 12 pounds, and the myrrh 3 pounds. These remained by Adam in the house of treasures. Therefore was it called of concealment. But other interpreters say it was called the cave of treasures by reason of the bodies of righteous men that were in it.
That's pretty cool. The Cave of Treasures was called that because of the righteous people that were in it, not because of the gold and myrrh and silver, whatever you just put in there.
Right.
That's cool. And then I'm going to get out of this for a second here, Jen, because I realized I like to, I think I can send this onto my rock thing too, so we can have more people eyeballs on it.
Absolutely.
Somebody was mentioning in the chat, I think it's Bobby Marley. Are we speculating the mountains around was an old, but yeah, you might have missed that part. He actually says that this mountain, this particular one didn't have steps,
Yeah.
which is funny because why would he say that unless the other ones did? So yeah, it's probably all mountain buildings.
That's what yeah, deductive reasoning, If you disagree, that's okay too. We're just, listening.
Stall for a minute, out of the chat for a second, and I'll get this up.
Mumsy Bear, what's up?
What time is this?
We got Rothrod LLC. Another video there. Okay, welcome. Bob Marley. Yep. It's okay to disagree, I mean, we're just listening, taking in the information. The information's out there. Just gotta let it in.
Gotta let it in.
Just gotta let it in. Digest it. I might digest it differently than you. But it's all good because I just feel like it's drawing us closer and we're getting more of a better picture, and it's just reaffirming our faith. So there's that.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna try to get this really fast if I can. And here we go. Okay, open. Okay, save. See if that worked.
There you go, pants on.
I gotta stream this to there. Let's see if
Oh, Bob was tardy. Bob Marley. Hold on. I got you. Scroll all the way up here. Get somebody.
I don't feel dirty.
That's for you and whoever else was with you. I still haven't seen Melanie. Is Melanie even here yet? What's going on with her?
Not sure. She'll be here eventually.
Maybe.
If not, I'll give her a hard time on Friday.
There's a lot of stuff going on today.
Let's see if this is working. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so that should get going. Then we can get that running. Okay, so click here, and we'll get the screen share going again. Okay, boom, baby. Now we're on Rockfin 2. So sometimes people pop over there. Okay.
Boom, baby.
Right? You say it way better.
Here, I have one.
Boom, baby. Say it. Boom, baby. Boom, baby.
Life with Jen. You have to say boom baby all the time. Okay. Am I sharing?
You're sharing. Sharon.
All right. Here we go.
These 3 things did God give to Adam on the 3rd day after he had come out of the garden, in token of the 3 days the Lord should remain in the heart of the earth. And
did you hear that? Again, he's comparing it to what happens with Jesus.
That's right.
Jesus descends and then he ascends because he has.
Yes, he goes down to the gates of hell and breaks them open.
Yeah.
And there's still, when we cover the 9 circles of hell, it even talks about it in there that where Jesus stood, there's like an imprint of where he stood there. Like it's known that that's where he stood when he came. Everybody who's in hell now knows that that's where it was.
Yes. Okay. Let me get this. Sorry. All right, here we go.
these 3 things, as they continued with Adam in the cave, gave him light by night, and by day they gave him a little relief from his sorrow. Chapter 32. And Adam and Eve remained in the cave of treasures until the 7th day. They neither ate of the fruit of the earth nor drank water. And when it dawned on the 8th day, Adam said to Eve, "O Eve, we prayed God to give us somewhat from the garden, and he sent his angels who brought us what we had desired. But now, arise, let us go to the sea of water we saw at first, and let us stand in it, praying that God will again be favorable to us and take us back, or give us something, or that he will give us comfort in some other land than this in which we are." Then Adam and Eve came out of the cave, went and stood on the border of the sea in which they had before thrown themselves. And Adam said to Eve, "Come, go down into this place, and come not out of it until the end of 30 days, when I shall come to thee. And pray to God with fervent heart and a sweet voice to forgive us. And I will go to another place, and go down into it, and do like thee." Then Adam went down into the water, as Adam had commanded her. Adam also went down into the water, and they stood praying, and besought the Lord to forgive them their offense, and to restore them to their former state. And they stood thus praying unto the end of the 35 days.
I like how they say it backwards. Not 35 days, 5 and 30.
Yeah. Oh, they stood there for that long, right?
They do a lot of weird stuff that we don't see how it's possible. They have a long time where they go without eating and drinking, and I don't know. But again, they were the first ones that were changed. They
This
didn't
is
have
true.
McDonald's or Fritos, so the
Yeah, and
calories.
our lifespans have been shortened. Our health has been hijacked and stuff. So I mean, there may have been,
And they lived hundreds of years.
that's what I was going to say too. Yeah, they lived a lot longer. Even how long did Noah live?
I don't I didn't know it'd be a pop quiz, but there.
It wasn't it like 600 years?
I think it was more. It was maybe
900.
I could look it up, but it's in that
It was
range.
a long time though. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Abraham didn't even have Isaac until he was like 100 or just about. So.
Right. Could you imagine having a kid when you're 100? See, we can't, because the way we live now in the short season of Satan, we have short lifespans. You know what I mean?
After the flood and stuff, God shortened us, and we're like whatever, maybe 100 years or less. So our lifespan has completely changed. If you live 900 years, then 100 is not even you're not even halfway, even close to halfway. You know what I mean?
And also, if we lived that long, they would not be able to pull the bullshit that they pull on us. See what I'm saying? Like during the short season of Satan, they make sure that they put aging accelerants and all this crap in the food and everything, and approve all this stuff, which further shortens our lifespan. And the lifespan that we're left with in the latter half of our lives aren't even very good lives, like quality of life is what I'm saying. These people are living robustly until like 900, where having a kid around 100 or 200 years old would be like us having a kid at like 35 or 40, as opposed to having them when we're say 20 or 100. It's the same kind of thing. And you would mature and have more knowledge and wisdom, and you would know better on a lot of things, and they would not be able to control us the way they do. You know what I mean?
Well, I think if you're living to say 900, it seems like, don't forget, there's also that cool part in the book where nobody knows what's going on. Like no one's ever gotten sick and died. Mm-hmm. And Adam starts getting old and feeling like he's sick and he's dying, and nobody even understands what the heck he's talking about. Like He calls in his sons and his wife, and they don't know what he means. And so it's like they didn't feel this until near the end. So maybe he doesn't actually start aging until say 800. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the things that we consider that dictate old age in our reality today are not natural to the natural way of getting old. I mean, like, we think it's a natural thing when people get old and they get senile and, all frail, where they fall once and break, 3 different things and all this stuff, when it's actually the things that they've done to our food and our water supply that brings us to that point at in that latter part of our lives, which is shortened now. Like if you're lucky, if you've lived to 80 or 90, and what's that look like? You know what I mean? And the Alzheimer's and all this dementia and stuff. It's not, but the kids today, they think that this is a natural state of getting older. You get old and you forget things, and you break, you're frail. We wouldn't be so frail and brittle if we didn't have a lifetime of fluoride consumption built up into our bones. We would be more robust, and we would live longer and healthier, and we would think smarter and critical thinking and stuff and questions. They wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff they're doing. So it's all part of it. You know what I mean? As far as where we're at now.
Boiling the frog a little at a time. If you do it slowly, it doesn't know it's being boiled alive. And so They don't want us dead. They want us sick and suffering until we die.
Yeah, before the industrial age and all, whenever you did see pictures of elderly people, they were still out farming, doing all kinds of stuff. It wasn't like there were, dying of all these aches and pains and ailments and bedridden for the latter half of their lives, or maybe like 5 to 7 years prior before they die, is just basically non-existent for them. It's just, they don't have any activity because they can't move and they're not mobile and they have all these issues and stuff. It's crazy.
That's very true.
How our lives are now.
Chapter 33. But Satan, the hater of all good, sought them in the cave, but found them not, although he searched diligently for them. But he found them standing in the water, praying, and thought within himself, Adam and Eve are thus standing in that water, beseeching God to forgive them their transgression, and to restore them to their former estate, and to take them from under my hand. But I will deceive them, so that they shall come out of the water, and not fulfill their vow.
And so once again, what does he want to do? Stop them from what? Praying.
Yep.
Because he knows that gets him every
Yep.
time.
And every time he tries to do something to Adam and Eve, it's all based on a falsity and a lie. Everything he tries, everything he comes at them with is all lies.
Yeah.
Then the hater of all good went not to Adam, but he went to Eve.
I love how he always says the hater of all good.
Yeah, I know, right? And the way he says Satan, it's like really.
Yeah, but I love that because he is really, truly the hater of all good. And we have to understand that even though it looks like he rules this place and, some of his technology might be good, he hates us. Don't get it twisted and don't ever forget it. He wants nothing more but to see your demise on it for eternal life in heaven with God.
100%. Okay.
God, praising and rejoicing, and said to her, Peace be unto thee. Be glad and rejoice. God is favorable unto you, and he sent me to Adam. I have brought him the glad tidings of salvation, and of his being filled with bright light, as he was at first. And Adam, in his joy for his restoration, has sent me to thee, that thou come to me, in order that I crown thee with light, like him.
So here we go again. Now, and I'm not dissing on the women. I'm just saying, the first time we fall, Satan deceives Eve. And of course, the woman comes to you, especially she was naked, and says, hey, try this fruit. He's going to say yes. So he made the mistake too. He's not out of the woods. But then the next time, it said that Adam called out to God and he listened, like the next two times, right? And then he brought on the gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So I
find your lack of faith disturbing.
So I can't see the screen because it's funny when they come in and I don't realize it's happening. So he's doing it again. He thinks she's the weak link, so he's going after her and pitting, just like they still do us today.
Yep.
He's pitting them against each other.
Yep.
He's whispering in her ear.
Divide and conquer.
Right.
The art of war, and his angels are all, Mars, the planet that doesn't exist. That's all about war. That the angel that they taught us weaponry and war and have us fighting against each other.
So now he's going over to her, going, "Hey, Adam's." He's all cool, and remember what he said to do last time. Forget all that. Now he's saying, "Come over here and stop praying." So it's once again, could God have stopped it? Yeah, but it's a test to see, are we going to learn? The whole reason I believe that we have to stay out for that many years is it's going to take them that many years to realize they're being deceived. I mean, some of us still haven't figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll do anything he can do to get them to stop praying, to divert their attention away from it, because praying is the key, and it repels him. It protects them from him. So he wants to do anything he can to stop them from praying and distract them away from it.
And, we look at it and we go, wow, does the punishment fit the crime? 5,500 years he brings us back. But, when you're living 900 years, I don't know. The timeline, God's timeline is way different than ours. That's the thing.
Yeah, but the cool thing about where we're at on the timeline is that we're at the very end of this 5,500 years. So it's not like we have to wait a long time. Excuse me. We don't have to wait a long time.
A lot of people can speculate now we've got way more time, but okay. It just seems like there's an exorbitant amount of things happening in this particular timeline that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
And okay. God's waking us all up, and then what? Sidelining us until another generation shows up and do it all over again? Mm-hmm. Or we're in the show. So,
that's right.
Here we go.
He said to me, Speak unto Eve. If she does not come with thee, tell her of the sign when we were on the top of the mountain. How God sent his angels who took us and brought us to the cave of treasures and laid the gold on the southern side, incense on the eastern side, and myrrh on the western side. Now, come to him. When Eve heard these words from him, she rejoiced greatly And thinking that Satan's appearance was real, she came out of the sea.
Dang it. I was hoping she wouldn't do it this time. But yeah. And so he says all these things and makes her believe that he's like he talked about the things that happened to them on the mountain. And if she'd just taken a few extra moments of discernment, she's like, well, Satan was seeing it too. So that's not really a tell that this guy was sent from God. What she should have done, of course, I'm an armchair quarterback. She should have prayed to God and said, hey, is it all true? Like Adam did.
Yeah.
So it's twice the woman is screwed. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Adam's apple. We need apple.
All right, here we go. Oh, Melanie finally showed up. Are you
Are
kidding?
you kidding me right now?
You
No,
gotta
you
hit
better
her.
have a damn good excuse and some extra glue at you.
I don't feel dirty.
All right, here we go. Now she's upsetting the whole show again. Here we go. Can we hear you, Melanie? Okay, here we go.
He went before.
Can
you hear me?
Sorry.
That's all right. I didn't know you were doing it. I was
I
waiting.
was late. I was late on it.
I'll do it again. I want to hear it.
Oh God, I gotta go back. All right, here we go.
Can you hear me?
It echoes.
I know. That's my favorite when they echo. So. Okay. All right. Here we go.
With thee, tell her of the sign when we were on the top of the mountain, how God sent his angels who took us and brought us to the cave of treasures and laid the gold on the southern side, incense on the eastern side, and myrrh on the western side. Now, come to him. When Eve heard these words from him, she rejoiced greatly. And thinking that Satan's appearance was real, she came out of the sea.
Dang it.
He went before, and she followed him till they came to Adam. Then
he's
Satan
like,
hid himself from her,
Man.
and she saw him no more. She then came and stood before Adam, who was standing by the water and rejoicing in God's forgiveness. And as she called to him, he turned round, found her there, and
All right,
wept.
look, I'll be the first to admit Eve is not the sharpest tool in the shed. I get it.
Isn't that hilarious though, the way it's said? He's still standing there.
He's looking like, what did you do? And she's like, look, God forgave us.
Yeah, but first he's not facing her, and he's rejoicing because he's like, it's working. God's gonna forgive us. Yes. And then he feels someone tap him on the shoulder, and he turns around and goes, shit.
I can see it all going down just like that.
And that's why these books, I say, as good as any book or movie, they're fascinating stories. They're fun. So, all right, here we go. Now he went immediately from praising God and singing rejoices to crying. I mean, this is an emotional dude. You got to admit, Adam's incredibly emotional.
He's bipolar. He's up, he's down. He hasn't found the medium ground yet.
Well, you know what? If you go through history, all of his ancestors are the same way. I mean, what is it? King David, if you read the Psalms, they're like, yay, God. And then they're like, oh, you hate me. And then it's, yay, God. So it's the same thing. All right. Let's see. Where were we? Let's back up just a little bit. Yeah, poor Adam. He's praising, and she taps him on the shoulder. Don't.
She then came and stood before Adam, who was standing by the water and rejoicing in God's forgiveness.
Poor guy.
And
They
as she
should make
called
this
to
a
him,
movie.
he turned round,
Totally goes,
found her there, and wept when he saw her, and smote upon his breast, and from the bitterness of his grief, he sank into the water.
He's going to kill himself again.
But God looked upon him, and upon his misery, and upon his being about to breathe his last. And the word of God came from heaven, raised him out of the water.
And every time he says that, I think of Jesus, because he's known as the Word. You know?
Yes.
And it didn't say God himself came from heaven. It said his word came down. It's pretty cool.
And said unto him, Go up the high bank to Eve. And when he came up to Eve, he said unto her, Who said to thee to come hither? Then she told him the discourse of the angel who had appeared unto her, and had given her a sign. But Adam grieved and gave her to know it was Satan. He then took her, and they both returned to the cave. These things happened to them the second time they went down to the water, 7 days after their coming out of the garden. They fasted in the water 35 days.
And I don't recommend this because our bodies aren't set up for that. But they just stood there for 35 days in the water. That's
I mean, their feet must have been like, I don't even know what kind of prune.
Yeah.
Was that?
We would pass out. I mean, I've seen where the people try to like hold on to a car to try to win. I don't think they can go 30 days. So, and Melanie, yes, you're always confused. Okay, let's go on. She's asked about Passover. Passover celebration goes for a week. So you can have it any night from, well, we did ours on Saturday all the way through the end of this week. So here we go.
42 days since they had left the garden.
So this has only been 42 days since they got kicked out.
Yeah.
So they're still brand new at this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're living 900 years, what's 42 days? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Satan's like, at their backs every 5 minutes. They've probably almost been deceived almost 42 times already. I mean,
yeah, right.
What's around? There's no nations yet. It's just Adam and Eve.
Yeah, we're only 30 chapters in, and he's already, tried to deceive them multiple times. Yeah. And they're 42 days old. Jeez. Here we go.
Chapter 34. And on the morning of the 43rd day, they came out of the cave sorrowful and weeping. Their bodies were lean, and they were parched from hunger and thirst, from fasting and praying, and from their heavy sorrow on account of their transgression.
So it affected them too. That's interesting.
Could you imagine being all tired and wore out from all this, and then you still got to make a fire and figure out what the hell you're going to eat? It's not like somebody's like, here's some food for you, or you can go to McDonald's. Not that I would recommend that, but I'm just saying fast food or something.
Yeah, no, they have to do everything. And how about this? Like you were saying, again, I'm not just crapping on Eve. They both made mistakes, but I mean, if she's already, not making the best decisions, if she gets lightheaded from lack of food, who knows what happens next?
Oh, whatever. Somebody's got to stick up for Eve.
And when they had come out of the cave, they went up the mountain to the west of the garden. There they stood and prayed and besought God to grant them forgiveness of their sins. And after their prayers, Adam began to entreat God, saying, O my Lord, my God, and my Creator, thou didst command the 4 elements to be gathered together, and they were gathered together by thine order. Then thou spreadest thy hand, and didst create me out of 1 element, that of the dust of the earth. And thou didst bring me into the garden at the 3rd hour on a Friday, and didst inform me of it in the cave. Then at first I knew neither night nor day, for I had a bright nature. Neither did the lights in which I lived ever leave me to know night or day. Then again, O Lord, in that 3rd hour in which thou didst create me, thou broughtest to me all beasts and lions and ostriches and fowls of the air,
and unicorns,
and all things that move in the earth, which thou hadst created at the 1st hour before me of the Friday. And thy will was that I should name them all.
Pause it there. I mean, really, thinking about that, when I first heard that Mandela effect, I was like, what the hell? Because if you remember, like the last 5 to 7 years, rainbows and unicorns are like everywhere you go. It doesn't matter where you're at. It was like unicorns. And it's, this mythical creature. It was never in the Bible. It's just never in there. And now it's like all over.
They replaced rhinoceros with it.
Something.
Because the old Bible that I have, it has all the animals from the Bible. Of course, there's no unicorn, but it has rhinoceros. So it's a single horned animal, and that's probably what it used to be. But it definitely wasn't unicorn. Yeah. There weren't couches or unicorns, as far as I understand, back in those days.
And it's interesting. He takes on all the animals of the land, but after the flood, I mean, there's fish in the sea, of course, and stuff. There's things going on, but it just seems like after the flood, now we have all these sea creatures, like with the salt water and all this stuff going on, as opposed to the freshwater fishes and stuff.
Well, according to the Bible, God says in the flood, no flesh, zero, absolute, no flesh survived except what was on the ark. And so he brought the land animals, but I don't think he brought the fish, or did he? Were the fish still alive? Because there's parts of the Bible where a third of the sea dies and all that stuff. But, if he flooded the place, I guess they could still be alive, the fish.
Or some of these creatures came from wherever the floodwaters came from. You know what I mean? Like, do you remember the one? Listen, do you remember the Simpson episode where he hits the ball and he cracks the sky and the whole ocean comes in? And there's all those sea creatures in there. It's kind of like I was thinking like that. Like,
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of us even think like some of these creatures you see in the water like don't look like they're like just so different and odd and strange. Like even whales, they're just seem like these really gentle creatures and stuff, and they're really intelligent. And
and they saved the planet in Star Trek 4. So
exactly.
Okay, here we go.
Beyond the dome, beyond Thunderdome.
So Cassandra, land animals. Yeah, so maybe I would think that. My dog agrees. All right, you. Enough down
just
there.
Throwing ideas around.
Yeah. I mean, what else do we got to do? This is what we're here for. Anybody can play this on their own. It's kind of fun to like pontificate together or whatever. Here we go.
With a suitable name. But thou gavest me understanding and knowledge and a pure heart and a right mind from thee, that I should name them after thine own mind regarding the naming of them.
And that's cool, because I always knew that Adam named all the animals. But here he says he did it on God's direction. So it wasn't just himself. It's kind of cool.
O God, thou madest them obedient to me, and didst order that not one of them break from my sway, according to thy commandment, and to the dominion which thou hast given me over them. But now they're all estranged from me. Then it was in that third hour of Friday, in which thou didst create me, and didst command me concerning the tree, to which I was neither to draw near, nor to eat thereof. For thou saidst to me in the garden, when thou eatest of it, of death thou shalt die. And if thou hadst punished me, as thou saidst with death, I should have died at that very moment. Moreover, when thou commandest me regarding the tree, I was neither to approach, nor to eat thereof. Eve was not with me. Thou hadst not yet created her.
So there you go. You said you wanted someone to stick up for Eve, Jen. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Adam's sticking up for Eve. Isn't that cool? That's a good husband should. He's a good husband.
That's right.
He's like, hey, God, just remember. I mean, like, God doesn't remember. He's like, she wasn't there when we had this combo, just so you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. He's sticking up for her. Good on you.
And then
Adam.
he remembers that, he's not all just pointing the fingers and blaming her or whatever. He recognizes that, she didn't get the memo.
Yeah. I mean, secretly with his sons, he's like, hey, your mom was the reason all this happened. But, to God, he's like, and she's the reason your name's Shem, too. Just saying. Okay, here we go. Name Shem. Makes me think of the Three Stooges.
What are they telling us there with that name?
It's all your mom's fault, and she named you Shem. Yeah, your brother's got the better name. Sorry. Okay.
What's this? Redstorm
Seth. I'm sorry. What am I saying? Shem, Seth. Oh, geez. But no, Seth is a good name. Shem.
No, but Shem is a name that comes in somewhere down the road there.
Yeah, he's another one. But the brothers are, let's see, there's Seth, and there's a few others. Anyway.
I don't know. Redstorm's asking me if I can display the text of the book. Like, do you mean the closed caption?
It doesn't come out. We tried that. All he has is this. So you just get us on the side, me without a camera. You know, I
Right.
could try to turn it on,
But
but it's black.
you guys can look this up on your own, or CFM can drop the link to it. Also, if you want to check it out on your own.
Yeah, you could probably buy this book somewhere written. This is just the audio that I found, and I really like this gentleman the way he reads. So there, yeah, okay. Let's see. Here we go.
Neither hadst thou yet taken her out of my side, nor had she yet heard this order from thee. Then at the end of the 3rd hour of that Friday, O Lord, thou didst cause a slumber and a sleep to come over me, and I slept and was overwhelmed in sleep.
I like how Adam's retelling the tale to God. Isn't that great?
Right. Yeah.
It's like that Christopher Farley thing when he's sitting on the couch like Paul McCartney. You remember when you did this? And you remember when you sang that? You know, it's like.
Well, it's also showing his maturity and that he's remembering and also, gaining knowledge from this, looking back on it in hindsight, all this stuff. So it's showing he's growing that way, like in just to letting it absorb into him, and he's starting to put it all together and accept it in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, it shows that his advancement and understanding.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, he's like, hey, God, remember when this happened and that happened? God's like, yeah, okay, I do.
Because if you don't remember the past, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's what they have to realize with Satan, that he's going to come and try to deceive you, but it's always going to be the same deception. But it's always going to be in a different costume, a different, setting or something like that, or a different. But at the end of the day, it's always the same goal, which is to lie to you, to distract you away from God, to mislead you.
Yep. Okay, here we go. That's very true.
Thou hadst not yet created her, neither hadst thou yet taken her out of my side, nor had she yet heard this order from thee. Then and
it's chapter 34, someone's asking.
The end of the 3rd hour of that Friday, O Lord, thou didst cause a slumber and a sleep to come over me, and I slept and was overwhelmed in sleep. Then thou didst draw a rib out of my side, and created it after my own similitude and image. Then I awoke, and when I saw her and knew who she was, I said, this is bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. Henceforth she shall be called woman. It was of thy good will, O God, that thou broughtest a slumber and a sleep over me, and that thou didst forthwith bring Eve out of my side until she was out, so that I did not see how she was made. Neither could I witness, O my Lord, how awful and great are thy goodness and mercy.
And once again, only God can create. The people that tell you, I don't believe in cloning, that they can create a human from nothing. I think they can mess around with bloodlines and create similar looking people. But no, only God can create. Satan can only mimic. And so just like CERN is just performing satanic rituals and spells, but they're not smashing particles. It's the same thing with this. Only God can create. And so you can't create a clone person. And this is in my thoughts. Anyways. Okay, here we go.
And of thy good will, O Lord, thou madest us both with bodies of a bright nature. And thou madest us two, one. And thou gavest us thy grace, and didst fill us with praises of the Holy Spirit, that we should be neither hungry nor thirsty, nor know what sorrow is, nor yet faintness of heart, neither suffering, fasting, nor weariness. But now, O God, since we transgressed thy commandment and broke thy law, thou hast brought us out into a strange land, and hast caused suffering and faintness, hunger and thirst to come upon us. Now therefore, O God, we pray thee, give us something to eat from the garden, to satisfy our hunger with it, and something wherewith to quench our thirst. For behold, many days, O God, we have tasted nothing, and drunk nothing, and our flesh is dried up, and our strength is wasted?
Well, there you go, Jen. It's
Yep.
been 42 days. They haven't eaten or drank anything.
Yep.
So there's your answer. There they haven't, because it didn't happen. That's what I
Hold
say
on.
that.
I have something for that.
That's very true. That's very true.
I'm trying to read the comments. I don't know what the hell they're talking about over here.
Well, the chat goes off on their own. It's fine. You know,
Methylamine, never mind. Don't even want to know.
don't get caught up in the minutia of Melanie sometimes.
I know. I'm like, they're not even listening to what we're talking about over here. They're on a whole different conversation. Like,
Yeah, I gotta say something that because I started the first time I heard of Melt and all that was from you and Steve, and you did a show the other day, and I was in the chat goofing around, and I had a blast, and it reminded me of when I first started watching you, and you were covering this crazy topic I'd never heard before, and you had all the documents and pictures. Then you and Steve would do like the gates of hell and all that stuff. But meanwhile, I really wasn't a lot on YouTube. I was on other people's shows, but I like to chat, and I used to just have a blast in the chat. And then every once in a while, you'd say something like, "Are you guys listening? Or are you watching?" And so I started talking and joking like I was in class because you were like my teacher. This is all new, and just like school, I was getting in trouble being rowdy in the class, and so that's kind of where the whole thing went as far as with you being the teacher and being tardy and all that. That's where for me all started.
yeah, well, sometimes there's things in there that I really want to get across. It's like the meat of the presentation, and you got to pay attention. And this is like it's going to tie it all together and stuff. And the conversations that go on in the chat are so out of the realm of whatever it is that we're presenting. And it's like, I know from my experience, I've trained myself to be able to read the chat and listen at the same time. But there's also you do miss things. You know what I mean? And
But yeah, speaking as a chatter, I agree. But it also is super fun sometimes to just be that rowdy in the classroom and not get caught. So it happens. And we have the best chat. I love it's a whole other show sometimes. I go back and I read it. They don't realize that I do. So I go back and check them out. And see
That's what I do too. I haven't done it in a while, but I used to go back and read all the chats because I would miss things, or I would see something going on, but I wasn't sure what it was, or somebody drops a link to something or whatever. And so don't think that we don't read the chats or go back and look.
And don't be worried if you're not listening, but you're chatting. That's cool too. It's fun to be together with people that just want to have a good evening, and that's what we're here for. So.
Well, I don't want anybody to miss anything, so at least I give you a heads up and say, pay attention. This part's important.
And I agree with you. Those chatters are, especially look at that 33. Watch out for her. So.
I know.
Okay, here we go. Let's see.
And sleep is gone from our eyes, from faintness and weeping. Then, O God, we dare not gather aught of the fruit of trees, from fear of thee. For when we transgressed at first, thou didst spare us, and didst not make us die.
I mean, think about that. They had one piece of fruit, or whatever it was. I mean, they say an apple, but I think it's just fruit, whatever it was. They had that one. They ate. And then, boom, they're kicked out and they're in punishment. So now he's afraid to eat anything off the trees, right? Or drink the water. He's like,
right. He's like, man, I don't know. I ain't touching nothing. But see, he has to understand. That's the part where he's not using his wisdom. It's like God said, you can eat from all these other trees, but not this one. So now he's like taking that to the next extreme outside. Like, I don't know what to touch, but God would have told him again, or, I guess he's got to figure out.
Bird once, twice shy. I don't blame him.
No, I get it. There's that fear now, of course. He has to consult with God. Which tree? Can I eat this? Should I even go near this thing? Tell me what to do here.
And so that's the other thing. It's like, at least once again, he's learning. He goes, hey, God, can you help us out? We're dying.
My belly's growling. Wait till they figure out toilet paper that they don't have any. What are they going to do?
God. Wait till they eat and then go, oh, my God, now what's happening? Yeah, great. Okay, here we go.
Oh, we thought in our hearts, if we eat of the fruit of trees without God's order, he will destroy us this time. and will wipe us off from the face of the earth. And if we drink of this water without God's order, he will make an end of us and root us up at once. Now therefore, O God, that I am come to this place with Eve, we beg thou wilt give us of the fruit of the garden, that we may be satisfied with it. For we desire the fruit that is on the earth, and all else that we lack in it. Chapter 35. Then God looked again upon Adam and his weeping.
They don't even know how to cook food or nothing.
And the
Like,
word
even
of
if they
God
got some
came
food,
to
what would they
him,
do with it? They don't even know.
They didn't have any food. They had the plants and the fruit, and they were afraid to touch it. So they're withering away. And now we're going to hear what God says back to him. God's reply.
Here we go.
Chapter
Pay attention.
34.
Or pay attention to one thing, it would be God's reply.
Exactly.
And his supply.
If you look on the screen, it tells you 35. Here we go. Just teasing somebody in the chat. Here we go.
To him, O Adam, when thou wast in my garden, thou knewest neither eating nor drinking, neither faintness nor suffering, neither leanness of flesh nor change, neither did sleep depart from thine eyes. But since thou transgressedst and camest into this strange land, all these trials are come upon thee. Chapter 36. Then God commanded the cherub who kept the gate of the garden with a sword of fire in his hand to take some of the fruit of the fig tree and to give it to Adam. The cherub obeyed the command of the Lord God and went into the garden and brought 2 figs on 2 twigs, each fig hanging to its leaf. They were from 2 of the trees among which Adam and Eve hid themselves when God went to walk in the garden, and the word of God came to Adam and Eve and said unto them, Adam, Adam, where art thou? And
they're standing in the fig trees, and that's why we see that reference, them holding a fig leaf over their private.
Yeah, this is the day the fashion industry was born.
Yeah, with a fig leaf. Go figure. See, Adam's another innovator. He came up with clothing. Well, God actually was the first tailor, but he did the leaf thing. So he's
gave her
got
2 leaves and said, "Here, stick these on your boobs."
Yeah, how they stick on? That's another thing. You're like, how do you tie those on? They use.
He said, "You know what, Eve, figure it out."
Exactly. He's like, here's 3 because you seem to have a lot going on there. But yeah.
Adam answered, O God, here am I. When I heard the sound of thee and thy voice, I hid myself, because I am naked. Then the cherub took 2 figs and brought them to Adam and Eve. But he threw them to them from afar, for they might not come near the cherub by reason of their flesh, that could not come near the fire. At first, angels trembled at the presence of Adam and were afraid of him. But now Adam trembled before the angels.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. They like that, though. The angel's just like, here, kid, catch. Hope he's a good catch.
And was afraid of them. Then Adam drew near and took 1 fig, and Eve also came in turn and took the other. And as they took them up in their hands, they looked at them and knew they were from the trees among which they had hidden themselves. Chapter 37. Then Adam said to Eve, Seest thou not these figs and their leaves, with which we covered ourselves when we were stripped of our bright nature? But now we know not what misery and suffering may come upon us from eating them. Now therefore, O Eve, let us restrain ourselves and not eat of them, thou and I. And let us ask God to give us of the fruit of the tree of life. Thus did Adam and Eve restrain themselves.
So here's the thing. Adam was doing good for a while here. I think he was scoring some points. But now he cries out, hey, God, can you get us some fruit from the garden? So God's like, okay, you really don't deserve all this, but I'll get it for you. Or maybe he says you do. I don't know. So he goes and he does that and he brings it to him. And now Adam's like, can I have one of the other fruits? I'm really not crazy about this fig. Can I get one out of that tree of life? You know what I mean? He's like, I don't know. I didn't have this relationship. Nobody did that he had with God. But it seems like God just did something for him. And now he's like, that wasn't enough.
Right.
Am I being too harsh on him?
No, I think you're right.
All right, here we go.
And did not eat of these figs. But Adam began to pray to God and to beseech him to give him of the fruit of the tree of life, saying thus, O God, when we transgressed thy commandment at the 6th hour of Friday, we were stripped of the bright nature we had, and did not continue in the garden after our transgression more than 3 hours. But on the evening thou madest come out of it. O God, we transgressed against thee 1 hour, and all these trials and sorrows have come upon us until this day. And those days together.
He makes a great point there too. It's like, come on, we made one mistake, but it was a big one. You know?
Yeah. It was the worst one they could make. It's just, there was only one thing they weren't supposed to do, and that was it. But they weren't ever, I mean, I don't want to say God could have told Adam, like, look, don't eat from this, because if you do, you know.
We did. He straight up said, you'll die. Yeah.
Right. But he said, don't eat from that tree. Don't even go near it. Don't even sit near it. They didn't really explain totally what they would be in for, or, and at least he didn't get told anything, you know.
If you have, it's hindsight's 2020, of course, they say.
Yeah.
So they say. If you have this amazing garden, you can do it, get everything needed. Everything's there. Everything's perfect. And he tells you one rule. Don't go near this one tree. And that's you get fixated and then you go ahead and do it. So, yeah, they only broke one silly rule, but it's the only one he was given. So it's pretty big. You know, if you had hundreds of rules, it's one thing. Maybe you could argue the point, but you had one. Yet, what was that thing you say? You had one thing to do, and you didn't.
That's very true. That's very true.
Can you guys hear me?
Play it again.
Yes, Tony. What'd you say?
Play it again.
Can you guys hear me?
Fantastic. Oh, here we go.
Love you, Mel.
Do not redeem that 1 hour in which we transgressed. O God, look upon us with an eye of pity, and do not requite us according to our transgression of thy commandment in the presence of thee. O God, give us of the fruit of the tree of life, that we may eat of it and live, and turn not to see sufferings and other trouble in this earth, for thou art God.
So he thinks if he prays really good here, God will change the 5,500 years to 44 days and bring it back tomorrow.
He's trying to get a shorter sentence, right? You know.
Yeah, exactly. He's pleading with the judge for shorter sentence.
Exactly.
Well, I wasn't driving.
Same thing I would do when I was a teenager, when I'm punished in my room, and my mom would not come off her punishments. Man, I'd sit there and beg and plead and do whatever I could. Come on, I mean, it's just like Adam.
Yeah, you got to throw out those "I love you." Yeah. Oh, shoot.
When we transgressed thy commandment, thou madest come out of the garden, and didst send a cherub to keep the tree of life, lest we should eat thereof and live, and know nothing of faintness after we transgressed. But now, O Lord, behold, we have endured all these days, and have borne sufferings. Make these 43 days an equivalent for the 1 hour in which we transgressed.
So
Chapter
he
38.
wants is a complete sentence acquitted at this point. Time served. Think about the lifetime of stuff they've done since they've been created in 42 days and tossed out.
So what I'm trying to understand though is Adam and Eve have children, right? They pass away, however long they live, 900 years, whatever.
Yeah.
Their souls are still like, are they like in that limbo state until God comes to be able to take them back? Because I'm just trying to figure that out.
When you get to the Revelation parts, it talks about, the dead, and the dead in Christ and all that. It talks about the dead, and so they show up too. So, there's, if let's say Jesus came back already once, it was for all the people since creation, since Adam, that have lived and died and were waiting for his return.
Right.
And then it gets fulfilled. And then there's the ending of the book where Satan gets to deceive the leftovers, wherever they come from, however they're here. It's a lot of speculation, but it definitely says that there's people in the end times that are deceived in the little season.
Right.
And so those people have to also have the same covenant that they'll be brought back by God. I used to think that I'm going to have to originally when I thought Israel was just a country, and when you realize the children of Israel, that's just children of Jacob. Because before there was Judah, which is one of the children of Abraham, they were called Hebrews. And so all these people are Hebrews until you get to the tribe of Judah, and then you happen to get, they call themselves what they call themselves now. But the rest of us have all been from the same lineage of Hebrews. Mm-hmm. And so whoever's left that didn't figure it out, didn't get their oil lamps filled or whatever, those are the ones that now Jesus has to reach out to, but we don't get him walking around with us. That was already happened. Now we get the Holy Spirit to comfort us and to give us guidance. And how do we connect to it? We have to do two things. We have to pray, and we have to look at the Bible, because the scriptures really fill in a lot.
Yeah, because it's basic instructions before leaving Earth. And basically that's what you find, a lot of wisdom in the Bible. And, a lot of the questions that you might have about even personal things happening in your life and how to handle it, the Bible has the answers in it.
Yeah. And so, as we seek knowledge, it has to come from somewhere. We're not just creating it ourselves. We have to find it usually in some type of literature. For those of us that really find that the Bible is coming true and provable facts in the past you can show, I go in there and I find the truth coming out. And it helps me in the times that we're in. You can go to other books, but no matter what other book you go to, they're written by men. And God specifically says, and you can make the argument that so is the Bible, but when you take how many years it took to put the Bible together, how many different authors, 40 or whatever, how many authors they have, and how many languages it was written in and stuff, and the fact that it was still all be able to put together so we can read it. I mean, I definitely see a supernatural touch to that, because the fact that it's in our hands and we find all these old Dead Sea Scrolls and we can read this book and Jasher and Enoch and some of these others that we know were taken out. It's fascinating to me. And so I encourage people, look at these books that people are telling you it's not for you, because very few people honestly read the Bible. And I'm not beating a drum here. I'm just saying it seems to be a fact, because people might read their favorite passages or have things memorized, or maybe read it a lot as a kid because they were forced to. But the difference is when you actually really get and enjoy it. Now, I don't read it, in my face all the time, but I do listen to it, like these things. And you can put them on in the car, you can put them on when you're working outside, whatever. And you can really gain this knowledge from these books. And I highly encourage people to look at the Bible and these other books. I'm finding fascinating amounts of knowledge. So.
And if something doesn't sound right in your Bible, you can come to maybe even CFM or me for some of them to tell you how the verse used to be, because I think that's why certain people have it written on their heart, and we recognize the Mandela effect and encourage you to still look at the Bible, because the word is still in there. The message is still in there, even though Satan's doing everything he can to try to steer people away from it or corrupt it in some way. The message is still there. And then people like us who have it written on our hearts can reassure you that how the verse should be and how it should be interpreted, as far as any questions like that go. That's how I feel.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like eventually God says it's written on your heart. And so if you are reading the scriptures a lot daily or whatever, you're going to see changes, and then you'll remember the way it was. And so, and trust me, I'm not the complete expert on anything, definitely not the Bible, but I know I read it a lot. And the more I read it, the more I'm starting to remember. I might get a date or a name wrong here, but overall, I'm getting it down. And it's not because I've been studying it like I'm trying to study for a test. It's because I enjoy the stories and I want to know our history and where we came from. And to me, that's the best place to find it.
Look,
So.
the Bible, we know the earth's flat. The Bible's always told us the earth's flat. There's a dome over it, the whole creation, right? All this other stuff, even the melt, God melted things. We're looking at the extreme heat event, God's judgments all through the Bible, even the Quran. It's been more honest about our world and us in it than any lies of Satan that we've taken as a true narrative all our lives.
And two things. One is Steph in the chat said that's what the concordance is for. And I agree. I've used that thing. However, isn't the concordance just someone else's interpretation? And so sometimes you do better just trying to figure it out on your own. That is a helpful guide. But again, it's someone else's. Like, I'm kind of done with, I'm not saying that particular idea, but the whole concept that we were taught that someone smarter has already figured it out and I'll just do what they are saying. And I disagree with that. Just like when I tell people that I read the Bible and they call me a Christian, but then I tell them that maybe we were at the short season, the end of the book, and they call me a preterist. And then I tell them, well, I take the Bible literally, and they call me a literalist. So the names don't mean anything to me. Just because I think a certain way and it lines up with some ideas that another person has, I've not changed into that person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like if I go to a farm and I witness them farming and milking cows and stuff, that does now make me a farmer if I agree on the way they're doing it. I just happen to line up with some ideas. And part of the reason I'm doing my show with David on Friday is I believe he thinks we're at the beginning, and we could be. So I'd like to hear and discuss because nobody knows. We just know the season we're in. We don't know the time or the day.
Yeah.
So, and the second thing I was going to tell you, just like when I realized that we don't live on a spinning ball flying through space, and people, of course, call you retarded, or when you see the buildings are melted, mountains are melted buildings, and they call you retarded. My wife and I just had it happen again when there's a guy that we met trying to do a Bible study. And when we told him that we believe the earth is flat, he called us all kinds of freaking names again, just like before. And I'm thinking, how can you be reading your Bible? First of all, he's not being Christian-like. Second of all, how can you read the Bible and skip past the parts where God says it's firmament, there's pillars, there's nowhere does he say you're flying through space on a spinning ball.
He's choosing to believe what he wants to believe out of the Bible. But science over here and the whole narrative, see, he does not understand the lie. He does not understand the lie that he's been living.
God calls them, they're lukewarm.
Yeah.
Because he can't take his foot off of the system.
Yeah,
and he's basically saying God's lying, and then laughing at us. But
like, hey, this part's true, this part's true, but over here, no. See, science debunked God over here. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but that's the thing. When you read Jesus' teaching, he's like, look, you're going to get false witness and persecuted and all that stuff if you start acting and talking like me. And if you are, you're over the target. You're doing it right. So, Anyway, where are we? Here, this is, he just asked, okay, he's asking the judge for a sentence release. He's like, hey, we already did 42 days. Let's get out. And then I guess this is God's answer again. Here we go. This is why we only get through like 20 minutes each time we do this, right, Jen? She's gone. Okay, here we go.
After these things, the word of God came to Adam and said unto him, O Adam, as to the fruit of the tree of life for which thou askest, I will not give it thee now, but when the 5,500 years are fulfilled.
Like I told you before, right? We just had this conversation, he says.
Then will I give thee of the fruit of the tree of life, and thou shalt eat and live forever, thou and Eve and thy righteous seed.
And I have to make a comment. Olive juice, it's another one. One of the first things my wife ever wrote for me when we started reading the Bible was that passage that you wrote. It's better to be hot or cold, because lukewarm, he'll spit you out of his mouth and say he never knew you. But that has been Mandela affected. She wrote it, spit, the way it used to be. Now it says spew. I know there's subtle differences, but
I
it's
didn't
creepy.
know that. I did not
Yeah.
know that changed.
Yeah, he spews you. So, but yeah, that's what he says about lukewarm. He'd rather you be one or the other, because otherwise he's going to spit you out, and it sounds no bueno.
Yeah, no bueno on that.
These 43 days cannot make amends for the hour in which thou didst transgress my commandment. O Adam, I gave thee to eat of the fig tree in which thou didst hide thyself. Go and eat of it, thou and Eve. I will not deny thy request, neither will I disappoint thy hope. Therefore bear up unto the fulfillment of the covenant I made with thee. And God withdrew his word from Adam.
Can you pause that for a second? We have a question.
Oh, okay. What is it?
Julio says, CFM, they took the book of Sirach out of my 25-year-old gold leaf index Bible at home. The entire book vanished, and also I can't find not even one biblical teacher even to correspond with this Mandela effect. Do you know anything about this?
No, I'm looking at, is she saying that it's like an apocryphy, or it's just a book that's gone? I'm not sure, because I've got the apocryphy in my Bible. I was going to see if
it's the book of Sirach, Sirach,
like sriracha.
25-year-old gold leaf indexed Bible at home. How long ago did this happen, Julio?
There's my apocrypha. So.
I mean, there's some books in the Bible that I don't even recognize some of those names that are in there now.
Oh, I know. There was one that literally was, we did a stream a long time ago. Seems like a bunch of new names showed up in the Bible. Let's see. Let's see. In my apocryphy, I've got Ezra 1 and 2, Tobit, Judith, Esther, Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus.
Ecclesiastic.
Well, it's not Ecclesiastes, it's another one, Ecclesiasticus. This is on the apocryphy books. They were taken out of the King James.
Okay.
Let's see. Three Holy Children, Susanna, Destruction of Bel, Manassas, and First and Second Maccabees. So no, I don't see Sriracha. So if it was a book that they remember, I don't know. But that could be, because that's how this weirdness of this Mandela effect is. As Patrick Roberts said, there's different like timelines or something that's weird. There's still some songs that my wife and I disagree about what the lyrics were. So, but other than that, we agree on everything else. So I don't know how it works. And some people see this and not that. So if that book was there, I'm not familiar with it.
All right.
All right. Maybe has anyone else remembered that book? I know I say it wrong, Sriracha, but I couldn't see what she was
guys, put a one in the chat if you remember that book or not, or if you know anything about it.
Yeah.
But we're 2 hours and 18 minutes. I want to go to 2:30.
Okay.
That sound good?
Sounds good. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Chapter 39. Then Adam returned to Eve and said to her, Arise and take a fig for thyself, and I will take another, and let us go to our cave. Then Adam and Eve took each a fig and went towards the cave. The time was about the setting of the sun, and their thoughts made them long to eat of the fruit. But Adam said to Eve, I am afraid to eat of this fig. I know not what may come upon me from it. So Adam wept and stood praying before God, saying, Satisfy my hunger without my having to eat this fig. For after I have eaten it, what will it profit me? And what shall I desire and ask of thee, O God, when it is gone?
And this
And he
makes
said
sense.
again,
Whoops, because he's never eaten anything. They didn't have to in the garden.
Right.
So yeah, I could see this freaking me out. I'm supposed to chew this and ingest it, and then what happens? It blows
Oh
up like
boy,
shit.
yeah.
Does
They're
it
gonna
pop
be
out
like,
of my
"Where's the
stomach?
toilet paper? Give me that fig
Right.
leaf."
Right? I mean, what happens in my stomach? Does it pop out and run across the table? Like, what the heck? I can see him getting.
Wait till the
But
first time he farts.
oh, geez.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, there's a first time for everything with these two.
Poor Eve. Oh my God. Okay, he's gonna what's that horrible thing that what do they call it? Some kind of apple. Anyways, here we go.
I am afraid to eat of it, for I know not what will befall me through it. Chapter 40. Then the word of God came to Adam and said unto him, O Adam, why hadst thou not this dread, neither this fasting, nor this care ere this? And why hadst thou not this fear before thou didst transgress?
That's pretty funny. Jen, you there? Am I all alone again? Oh, but I have the chat. That's pretty funny. He's about to eat his second piece of fruit, and this one he doesn't want to eat. And God's like, dude, if you'd only done this the first time, we wouldn't be in this mess.
But when thou camest to dwell in this strange land, thy animal body could not be on earth without earthly food to strengthen it and to restore its powers. And God withdrew his word from Adam. Chapter 41. Then Adam took the fig and laid it on the golden rods. Eve also took her fig and put it upon the incense. And the weight of each fig was that of a watermelon.
Wow.
For the fruit of the garden was much larger than the fruit of this land.
Obviously.
But Adam and Eve remained standing and fasting the whole of that night until the morning dawned. When the sun rose, they were at their prayers, and Adam said to Eve after they'd done praying, O Eve, come, let us go to the border of the garden looking south, to the place whence the river flows and is parted into 4 heads. There we will pray to God and ask him to give us to drink of the water of life.
So once again, he asked for this fruit. God gives it to him. He's afraid to eat it. He prays, and God's like, no, you're going to come home when I say. Now go sit in your room, and I gave you food, and relax. So what does he do? He tells Eve, don't eat the fruit. We're going to go and try to pray again and try to come back in. He's just not listening.
Nice.
For God has not fed us with the tree of life in order that we may not live. We will therefore ask him to give us of the water of life and to quench our thirst with it, rather than with a drink of water of this land. When Eve heard these words from Adam, she agreed, and they both arose and came to the southern border of the garden, upon the brink of the river of water at some little distance from the garden. They stood and prayed before the Lord, and asked him to look upon them this once, to forgive them, and to grant them their request. After this prayer from both of them, Adam began to pray with his voice before God, and said, O Lord, when I was in the garden and saw the water that flowed from under the tree of life, my heart did not desire, neither did my body require to drink of it, neither did I know thirst, for I was living, and above that which I am now. So that in order to live, I did not require any food of life, neither did I drink of the water of life. But now, O God, I am dead. My flesh is parched with thirst. Give me of the water of life, that I may drink of it and live. Of thy
And then I just wanted to say, oh, Mellow Yellow is late. Okay, but it said, who was it that was talking about the book that they remember?
Jenny Murphy said she remembers the book.
Yeah. Oh, Julio was talking about Sriracha,
Yeah. Yes.
and I think Red Storm said that they found it on audio, and you can find it, so it still exists, maybe. So yeah. And it's funny. I'm not sure how. Is it Sirach? I'm not sure. But there's no audio with that. So unless it's phonetics, I said Sriracha. Okay. All right, here we go.
mercy, O God, save me from these plagues and trials, and bring me into another land different from this, if thou wilt not let me dwell in thy garden. Chapter 42. Then came the word of God to Adam, and said unto him, O Adam, as to what thou sayest, bring me into a land where there is rest. It is not another land than this, but it is the kingdom of heaven, where alone there is rest. But thou canst not make thy entrance into it at present, but only after thy judgment is past and fulfilled. Then will I make thee go up into the kingdom of heaven, thee and thy righteous seed. And I will give thee and them the rest thou askest for at present. And if thou saidst, Give me of the water of life, that I may drink and live, it cannot be this day, but on the day that I shall descend into hell, and break the gates of brass, and bruise in pieces the kingdoms of iron. Then will I in mercy save thy soul, and the souls of the righteous, to give them rest in my garden.
Right?
Pause that for a second. This Ciroc thing reminds me of the vodka. Ciroc vodka. That's the word to say now, how you pronounce it. Ciroc.
Ciroc? Okay.
Ciroc. Anyway, so we're just going to comment on this part?
Well, he just mentioned that he's going to break the gates of hell. Mm-hmm. So, again, when he is on the cross, and then the 3 days he descends, and then he ascends. So he had to do stuff down there and get it all squared away.
If this was in the Bible, in the first part of the Bible, which is considered the Torah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then all these people who were crucifying Jesus would have known all this stuff was already there and realized that this is happening, right? But do you think that's why they left it out?
I don't know when it was taken out.
I mean, I don't know. Like, why wouldn't this even be?
But don't forget, you're talking about the people that lived in the time of Jesus. They didn't have the Bible. They were writing it and experiencing it. So they had other writings.
He was not the Messiah, like, because, so I guess he didn't fulfill whatever they thought he was supposed to fulfill to be the Messiah or something.
Yeah. Well, these ideas and teachings have to have come from Adam and Eve and somehow made it to the ark so we can still have it.
Right.
And I remember it's in this book or it's in Jasher when they're talking about Eve. And remember I was saying when Adam's dying and nobody knows what's happening to him. Uh-huh. And he tells his kids, his children, his sons, that they need to remember all these teachings because he wants them to be able to fulfill this and all come home because that's God's promise. And so then it says, I think Eve dies like the next day. That's how connected they are. Or
yeah,
at least
within a few days she dies. Yeah.
Maybe 3 days. That's a God number. And what does she tell her children? She says, write this stuff out on 2 types of medium, on clay and on, what was the other one, Jen? We just talked about it.
On stone. One was on stone and one was on clay.
If there's water destruction, like God says is going to happen, then the clay will wash away, but the stone won't. And if it's a fire destruction, because God says that's going to happen, then the stones will break up, but the clay will harden. And so somehow these teachings got passed down so we could see them. When they got unearthed, well, that's a bone of contention, I guess. But to me, they match up. And they were originally part of the books. They took them out along with Enoch and Jasher and some others.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish up here.
All right, here we go.
That shall be when the end of the world is come. And again, as regards the water of life thou seekest, it will not be granted thee this day, but on the day that I shall shed my blood upon thy head in the land of Golgotha. For my blood shall be the water of life unto thee at that time.
Where in the heck is that? Land of Golgotha. Interesting.
Not to thee alone, but unto all those of thy seed who shall believe in me, that it be unto them for rest forever. The Lord said again unto Adam, O Adam, when thou wast in the garden, these trials did not come to thee. But since thou didst transgress my commandment, all these sufferings have come upon thee. Now also does thy flesh require food and drink. Drink then of that water that flows by thee on the face of the earth. Then God withdrew his word from Adam. And Adam and Eve worshipped the Lord, and returned from the river of water to the cave. It was noonday, and when they drew near to the cave, they saw a large fire by it. Chapter 43. Then Adam and Eve were afraid and stood still. And Adam said to Eve, What is that fire by our cave? We do nothing in it to bring about this fire. We neither have bread to bake therein, nor broth to cook there. As to this fire, we know not the like, neither do we know what to call it. But ever since God sent the cherub with a sword of fire that flashed and lightened in his hand, from fear of which we fell down and were like corpses, have we not seen the like? But now, O Eve, behold, this is the same fire that was in the cherub's hand, which God had sent to keep the cave in which we dwell. O Eve, it is because God is angry with us and will drive us from it. O Eve, we have again transgressed his commandment in that cave, so that he'd sent this fire to burn around it and to prevent us from going into it. If this be really so, O Eve, where shall we dwell? And whither shall we flee from before the face of the Lord? Since as regards the garden, he will not let us abide.
When Eve turns around and slaps the shit out of Adam and says, snap out of it. That's the Italian Eve, by the way, from Philly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this Adam, man, he's just...
God, get your shit together.
His own worst enemy. He needs to
build
slap
a damn fire and let's cook some food already.
He's really spiraling. It's funny. But it is an interesting thought. Like, he talked about baking bread and broth, but they haven't eaten yet. So I'm confused there. But, these were pieces that they pieced together. So maybe there's some issues on some of the translations.
Right.
But yeah. So, do you want to pause here, or do you want to finish this chapter?
Let's pause here. Take note of where we're at here. Chapter 43. And,
Got it.
We'll pick it up on a part 4 because we just have so much fun doing this anyway. So we'll just drag it out as long as we can.
That's my camera. Hi, everyone. I'm waving to you. So we'll just do this. Just the way it is. Hopefully I can get it working for Friday. I don't know what's going on with this thing. But,
yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know what's going on there, but maybe you need to unplug your camera, maybe clean the wires out or something. Or
I mean, I did a bunch of things, but I'll work on it. So, But this was fun. Once again, I really enjoy going over this stuff with you, and the
we
chat.
had 58 people here, almost 60 most of the time. Everybody's having a good time in the chat, and that's really what we're here to do, guys. We're here. Some people call it fellowship, whatever you want to call it, or 2 or more gather. Jesus will be.
There's 5 people on Rockfin, and for you over on Rockfin, I'm going to repost the entire show because I turned it on really late, so you missed it all. But I'll put the whole thing up when we're done here. So.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this, of course. And I appreciate you all that came and are commenting, and write to us if you have questions. Not that we have the answers, but it's fun to discuss them. And thank Jen again for doing this and hosting this. I have such fun going over these books, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I think we gain a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and we need everything that we can get at this time to help us through this short season of Satan, whatever part of it we're in. There's a battle being waged against us in the spirit realm, and we're all a part of it, whether you think you are or not. And we need to wake people up to the fact that it's no time to be lukewarm. You really have to get yourself in order that way so you can be in the battle. And because if you're lukewarm and you're just kind of trying to sit on the sidelines and watch to see who's going to win, so then you can jump on that bandwagon, it's not going to work out for you well. Yeah. And sitting on the sidelines it's maybe you're not on Satan's side, but you're not helping. You're helping him by not helping the fight of where we're at with things. But you got to pick your battles as well, and God won't give you more than you can handle. So always armor up, and keep your faith strong. And dear God, please deliver us from evil, because the only thing evil needs to prevail is for good men and women to stand by and do nothing. So guys, let it not be said that we stood by and did nothing.
Amen. And look, it came on. You did a nice prayer. My camera came back.
Yeah, miracle.
Amen. Yeah, I love it. Okay, but thank you. That's beautiful what you said there.
All right, guys, we're gonna go out with a song tonight. Let's see here. We'll go out with God's Eyes. I know CFM really likes that song.
That's a good song.
All right, I love you guys, and we are out of here.
God's eyes, but I seen the devil's. He walks with man on earth at different levels. He knows the king we serve, so he hates and meddles and prays that we all burn and turn to rebels. He tried to get my soul, but I'll never settle. I walk this lonely road from the burbs to ghettos. I'll take the gift bestowed and return a vessel. I am the one they chose. Rebellious in all ways, been sinners since birth. He knew that it would happen when he put us on this earth. We demonize religion, brought corruption to the church. We know the price of everything, but we don't know the worth. We spend all of our time idolizing false prophets. Comparison's the enemy, stop watching others' pockets. The social system's broken, we divide on every topic. They fabricate the truth and we all monetize the gossip. We know the problems and we see them but don't want to change. We're desensitized to every issue because they let us profit off of people's pain. In this dystopian age, we are the game that he plays, and all the evil, deceitful people should shake our faith. I never seen God's eyes, but I seen the devil's. He walks with man on earth at different levels. He knows the king we serve, so he hates and meddles and prays that we all burn and turn to rebels. He tried to get my soul, but I'll never settle. I walk this lonely road from the burbs to ghettos. I'll take the gift bestowed and return a vessel. I am the one they chose. Our God is an awesome artist. In perilous times we seek his grace, as the world and the times we face turn fake in the face of the devil's mirages. In the midst of the pain just stained in the media's push of all this garbage, I pray that you keep your faith as the whole world breaks and the real get disregarded. It's about time that we take it back. The weight's too great for the camel's back. Strong men made life an easy task, and now the weak men feminize every act. In the church, in the workplace, every class, on the television screen, in the state of rap. All virtues gone and the state of black. We in hell on earth and it's gon' collapse. Integrity's lost, hedonism we incentivize. God's on the way, the revolution will be televised. Gone too far, don't know if we can rectify. At those gates we will testify. So I'm saying it now for they counteract clockwise. We are living in times where the wicked is all rise, the intelligent fall while the stupid is all thrive, and the real get pushed aside. I never seen God's eyes, but I seen the devil's. He walks with man on earth at different levels. He knows the king we serve, so he hates and meddles and prays that we all burn and turn to rebels. He tried to get my soul, but I'll never